Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Awfully Silly, the even earlier edition. That's right, we're about 6 or so hours earlier than we normally are on a given every other Tuesday. So I appreciate everybody coming by to check us out, especially on New Year's Eve. I guess it's more New Year's Day, Eve Day, but you know what I mean. Yeah, my name is Conception. We have an incredible show here that we're going to dive into some goofy games based on some of your favorite toys, maybe either growing up or maybe still. Who knows? Maybe you're still a collector. You never know. But before we dive in and jump into all the toy-related shenanigans that we're going to be getting up to today, I did want to go over a few announcements. So first and foremost, GDQ 2025 is right around the corner, and I mean that pretty literally, because it's going to be live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, starting on January 5th through the 12th. So that's less than a week from now. That is like five or 6 days from now. I can't count. It's too early. I'm used to being here at 7. So, anyways. You're going to want to visit GamesDoneQuick.com. Check out the AGDQ 2025 important dates section to learn more. Like, you can get there, the schedule from there and anything else related to the event, especially if you happen to be attending on site. There's some more information there for you too. If you're looking for even more GDQ2 view, we have an event that's on the horizon, which is Back to Black 2025. This is the upgrade to Unapologetically Black and Fast, and this is going to be live from February 6th through the 9th, right here on the Games Done Quick Twitch channel. This is going to be a charity event that benefits Race Forward. So you're going to want to make sure to catch the action, support this incredible cause. If you type !BTB in the Twitch chat, that's going to get you to our event schedule, which has a lot of incredible runs on there that I can't wait for. And if you want to find out about more about the Black speedrunning community kind of in general, if you type !BAF, that will get you some more information as well in the Twitch chat. So be sure to check it out. All right, but without further ado, it's time to jump into some toy-related joy here. Yeah, that's right. All of tonight's games on Awfully Silly are related to toys, at least in some way. You know how I love to stretch a theme sometimes. But this one is pretty firmly toy-related, I would say. This and near and dear to my heart because it's a Barbie game, which of course we all know that I love. Hopefully you're gonna love it too, because I love this one. So what we have first and foremost kicking us off tonight is Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus, and that's gonna be run by Menace Mans. So Menace Mans, the toy floor is toy yours.
Why, toy, thank you. So yes, this is Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus, based on the classic movie of the same name. I have my Pegasus here with me, my Pegasus toy for toy theme hotfix today, and I have Barbie herself as well. She's come to join us because as you can see, my room is all Barbie, so I am a Barbie collector. So this is going to be super duper fun. So the category is any percent easy mode. There is medium or normal, I guess they call it here. And time is going to start once I hit easy mode in 3, 2, 1, and go.
Good luck.
Thank you. So, like I said, this is based on the movie Barbie and Magic of the Pegasus. So it's kind of like it has lore-ish. So the thing we just picked up is the magical Wand of Light. And in the movie, that's like her whole arc is trying to collect pieces to make the Wand of Light. But in this game, it's just like, here you go. You have it. And that's where we're going to be getting all of our magic from. The main villain is going to be this evil guy named Wenlock. He, for some reason, really wants to marry our sister and is so jealous that she's like, no, that he turns her into a horse. And I don't know why. I guess he has some anger issues. But we have her as a horse, and that was like the whole point of the movie, is we get the Wand of Light to turn her back to being a human. But in this game, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna stay being a Pegasus to help you get around this map. And it's like, thanks, sis. Appreciate it. So that's all she serves. That's her only purpose in this game, is to be our mode of transportation. You might be noticing I'm hopping a lot. There was a task made for this game, and the fastest method of travel is hopping. So I will be doing that frequently, but I am not perfect at timing it, so I may be running into some enemies, but that is fine, since we are in easy mode. We don't take any real damage. I'm trying to do a trick here where I have to hit him from below. There we go. So we cannot game over, we cannot die, so I love a good damage boost, so that's what we will be doing with Barbie today. Her character name is Annika, which I think is pretty cool. It's a cool, different name for Barbie.
I like that.
Because they establish later that in all of the classic Barbie movies, like, Barbie is canonically playing a character and is an actress in her fantasy world, which is weird because at the end of these DVDs, they would have the classic animated bloopers like they did in Toy Story and stuff, where they would have, like, the animated bloopers at the end of the movie and stuff, where the animated characters would have their cell phone on or whatever, like, in...
Yeah.
So, that's fun.
I love that. So perfectly of the time.
I know, I missed that. Bring back animated bloopers. But that is the end of that floor. Just like in some Mario games where you keep track of stars, there's like a people tracker down at the bottom. And I think it's always 10 people in every level. But unfortunately, it won't tell us if we miss one, like which one we missed. It'll just fill up from left to right. So if you miss someone in the middle, you'll just have to figure out which one that is on your own. This game is a lot of memorization. Where the people is like all scripted. It's not RNG. They're the same place every time. But this is our new power-up. We can now go straight up with wand, and it makes an incredibly loud sound. But yeah. So all the village people have been turned to stone. That's the other evil thing that this guy did. So we're just going around to all these different places and freeing the people from being stone. And you'll notice a lot of these people are going to look familiar because they're the same skins reused over and over.
Yeah, it's like the same 3 or 4 models, yeah.
Yeah. And then we're just going to hop on up here. And there is actually some interesting tech and glitches in certain parts of this game, which that's what kind of made me interested in this one. Plus, I had this game as a kid, so the nostalgia is always there. So we are going to skip those steps over there because we have a different method of reaching the person that's up there, which we will see in just a sec. Yeah, just damage. Who cares? We can't die because we're Barbie. So we skip the little platforming over there because we can go through walls and we can just hit her from the side. So pretty cool.
Beautiful.
And this area is supposed to be like a castle. Because in the movie there's like a castle in the sky, not the Studio Ghibli version.
Yeah, it's a different movie.
Different movie. But that's like where all the Pegasus live, and there's like girls that make the sunset with their Pegasus and the sunrise. Like, it's like a whole thing that they all live in the clouds. So we are in a cloud castle, which is why we have such a pretty background of clouds in the windows, which I love.
It is nice.
So this last one is right up here. And I think that's the end of the castle. Yeah, so we get a boss fight at the end of every world. So we get to fight against Wenlock first. And this boss fight is probably the most basic boss fight I've ever seen in a game, where we're just going to hop up on top of the chandelier and drop it on him. And he has like the 3 hits down there, so he will be taking damage that way. And I always thought as a kid, the like rope holding up the chandelier looks like taffy. Like, it's like being stretched when you
yeah.
It's just like gum or taffy, and it's like, that's not very secure. So
No,
yeah,
not at all.
we have these transition sequences with our sister who's back where we travel from world to world, and if we collect all the coins we get a secret picture, and in order to even get through this section you have to collect all of the coins, and it's only 10 so it's not a big deal. So we're just bouncing around and it's just we have to wait for the clouds to show up, and the picture is going to be fantastic. It's going to be worth the wait, you know, because you know how good resolution is on a Game Boy. So let's go see how great this picture is. Once it takes so long for this section to end. Beautiful. I love all the pixels.
Not fuzzy at all. Yeah.
So this is our second world. One thing that bothers me about this world is that every once in a while, if you jump high enough, you can see there's one singular pixel that they forgot to fill in, then it's just black, and it bothers me every time I see it. So if anyone spots it during the run, I hope you're just annoyed as I am, because I don't know. I mean, you have this whole detailed thing of a mountain back there, and you just miss one block of the sky. I don't know how that happens.
Couldn't afford that pixel, obviously. That one was too expensive.
New power-up. We now can go side to side. That's it. We move side to side, and we keep getting more and more power-ups as we go from world to world. I'm gonna get rid of this guy, just because I can feel like it. But yeah, some of these maps, they are kind of sneaky with where they put people, because they will kind of deceive you into thinking there's someone there when there's no one. Like on the top of all those houses, like there was nothing. So you have to wait like a long time sometimes to get between people. But that's like the most difficult part of this run, I think, is just memorizing, because there's like 10-ish levels with 10 people each in them, so it's like 100 people. You have to memorize where they all are, and it's even harder when they all look the same, and these maps all look the same, so that's fun. And this is the last guy for this level. But I also think this is very fitting. It's very wintry. This movie does have a very big winter icy vibe. Like in this movie, Barbie likes to ice skate. That's like her whole character arc, is that she likes ice skating. So I think that's pretty neat. We want to skip that key because that would have started a dialogue box, which we don't want. Getting the keys in this game is for, I guess, what could be considered like the 100% category. You can unlock costumes for Barbie in this game, because it wouldn't be a Barbie game without costumes. And so you get those keys, you unlock a magical door, and you do a mini game and you get a new costume with every mini game you finish. And so that's like a different category on speedrun.com, all costumes. So that's fun. Another side-to-side moment. And I think the enemies are pretty interesting. We got griffins, and I think that's like a hedgehog, maybe. I don't think they even really know what they've put in these games.
This abstract creature.
Yeah. So we jump down, and then we only got one person left. And then I think we're going to be moving on to the more interesting world, I think. Unless there's one more of this, which there might be, because I might have miscounted. The snow ones kind of blend together. Yeah, there's one more. One more snow.
Yeah, I see what you mean. The maps do look very, very similar.
Yeah, and if you, like, there's a couple of other Barbie GBA games that look very similar, if not identical, to this, and they just use the same assets, and the same kind of idea where you have a certain power, and then you just switch between those powers to use them in different areas. So that's fun. I think it's just because it was easy. I think all of these ones were made by WayForward too, so they all have that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's really neat that you know, especially I think the other good Barbie GBA game I would say is the 12 Dancing Princesses one, because I think the powers that you get in that game are a little bit more interesting than this game, and there's a really cool like mirrored level that's like really trippy that I think was really cool that they added in. But they loved pumping out video games. Like I mentioned before we got on stream, I'm trying to collect all the Barbie video games, and I currently have over like 100 physical games and like little gadgets that they made. They made a Barbie game watch, which I don't know who wanted that, but you can play volleyball with Barbie.
You did.
Yeah. But there is another Magic of the Pegasus game for PC, and it looks completely different, made by a completely different company. So if you were like, I played Magic of the Pegasus as the kid, and it didn't look like this, you probably played it on PC, and it's like a 3D, it has like 3D models, so it looks really, really interesting, because it came out in 2005, so you got 2005 graphics. So right here, we're going to be doing a trick, because he takes damage by hitting these bridges, and I want to make sure that he hits them as soon as possible. And since I don't really game over or take damage, we're just gonna sacrifice ourselves. And yeah, that's the fastest way I found to do that one. Because he will fall on you at certain increments, and you just want to make sure you're at the bridge on those points. Because I have had it where I don't time it right, and then you end up waiting for him to come to the third bridge, and it's unnecessary. Now we get to do another one of these sections, which I wish we could skip. And we get to have another fabulous picture shown to us from a screen. It's literally just a screen grab from the movie they put in the game, which, you know, I guess, I don't know if that, as a kid, I wouldn't be like, oh boy, I'm so glad I got to see this screenshot from a movie that I already own. Alright.
They really thought that's what kids wanted to see back then, because they did that all the time. All the time.
It's so, so weird.
Weird.
This is probably the most interesting map of the game. This is like a foresty vibe. And it's because we can start using a new power and also utilize a glitch, which we will be seeing shortly, which I'm really excited about, because a lot of Barbie games, you kind of just have to play it through and figure out how to do it the fastest, but with this, you can actually glitch out the game, which I'm excited about. So it's because of these guys. We got this new power. And as you saw there, the game gets confused when you switch from power to power, and it doubles the amount of people that you saved so that you can finish the level early without having to save everyone. So we get to leave some people behind. Sorry. Oh, that was close. But now we can finish, and especially the second level. The second level of Forest is all of those like little Shrek-looking creatures. So we finish it like literally twice as fast, and I think it saves like 5 minutes in a run if you get all of them.
Oh, yeah, wow.
It's really good. So I try not to mess them up, because that's really good time save. So we are just gonna hop over here and do this last one. And so yeah, there was one other person at the end of the map, and we don't need to save them. Jump over that, because that actually, the pollen makes you slow, so that would have been bad if we got caught in that. Exactly.
Just like real life.
I'm just gonna...
Especially if you have allergies, you know.
Allergies are the worst. So here's another one. I just have to time it right. There we go. Got two. 2 for 1 deal. And then we have the other one. Oh, I missed that one. That's a shame. It's really particular how you time it. I don't even really have a method for it. I just kind of feel it out at this point. But I try to base it off of the transformation sequence. Alright, there we go. At least we got that one. And we would be done by now if I didn't mess up, but this would typically be our last one. But now we have to find one more, which is fine, because they're not too far from here. Okay, there he is. Oops. Come here, you. There we go. So that is what I think we refer to as a goblin glitch. I think they're supposed to be goblins. Who knows? I don't think they really have names. So we unfortunately won't be getting as many as we did in that last level, but they're still here, so we can still utilize them. There we go. And let's see. I think we have another one up here. Yep. And there's one of the secret doors I was telling you guys about earlier for the costumes. Right, and then we skip the person that we saw on the left because we don't need her for what we're going to do. We can just skip people. We can pick and choose who we want. And let's see. Up here we have another person hiding. And I think we have one more goblin we can do, and then we can finish out the forest levels. Yeah, I think it's up really high. I think they're up here. No! See, this
all the way
other
down.
runners of this game will tell you that it doesn't matter how you're playing this, emulator, real, like, device, whatever. Sometimes it just doesn't read your inputs. Like, I was pressing the input there, and sometimes it just ignores you, and, like, for 3 or 4 inputs. It just won't pick it up. And I've never had that with any of the other Barbie games, just this one. So, I don't know. It has to be on their end. Because I'm playing with a physical copy and everything, and I thought maybe that would help, but I think it just makes it worse. So, oh well.
Yeah. GBA was a weird system too. I feel like I've dealt with drop frames on GBA runs before.
But this is another character from the movie. His name is Ollie the Giant. And well, I forgot to mention the most important part about this movie is that I think it's the only 3D Barbie movie that came with the 3D glasses at home. So that was really cool that with some of the dolls, like, you got the 3D glasses and the DVD and stuff, and it had, like, the Pegasus wings on it and everything. So, in the scene where this giant captures you and is trying to eat you and puts you in, like, a big, like, pot, and there's, like, vegetables being thrown at you and everything, and it was definitely an experimental time for 3D. Every movie came with, like, 3D glasses.
My first foray was Spy Kids 3D. I remember when I was
Spy
young.
Kids 3D. That was such a good movie.
Transformative.
So this will be our last little sequence here of going through the clouds. And then we're going to enter my least favorite area, because this game has made it very hard for no reason, but it's mainly because it's ice. We're going to an ice area, so we get to have ice physics, and
yes,
ice physics are always fun to work around. So, and then this game is diabolical and does, like, put traps and tricks in the way. So first they have to make it really inconvenient, because we see someone up there and we're like, how are we gonna save that person? And it's because they haven't given us the power up yet. We have to come all the way over here to get the power up, which is the melting power. And now we can go back and backtrack. There's a lot of backtracking in these maps, which is annoying, in addition with all the ice. Like, I have to move so slow there. And they're also very particular about how much ice you have to remove from each person before you can actually free them from the stone. So you have to hit every ice block. And like, any part of them still has ice on it, like, it won't let you do anything. So this is where the memorization is really important, because it's really not obvious which ice blocks have people in them or not. So you just have to remember which ones do and which ones don't. And I think that's pretty mean for a kid's game.
Yeah, that's cruel. I think that's mean, for sure.
And then we have someone up here that... Come on. There we go. The wand was not wanding. It was not wanting to work. So here's another one. Very inconspicuous, but you also can do like a similar trick that we did with like the goblin, where it's like really quick going between the two power-ups. But unfortunately, because we have another power-up in the way, in between the normal and the like the flower one that we used in the forest, we can no longer do that really nice glitch. I think it's possible, but really hard, and I haven't been able to do it, and I think only one person has, that I know of, been able to do it. But it's not consistent at all. So we'll just have to save everyone now, I guess.
Unbelievable.
SMH.
Save everyone? That's unreasonable.
Usually we have to
I think.
pay for that, saving extra people.
Yeah.
So, oops, we'll put water here. So we need to go up this way. Because all the way over here, they decided to put someone. And then we're going to side to side. And there's going to be a person right through here. We can just do that. And yeah, there's like so much empty space, so many places where you second guess yourself, like, was there someone there? And it's like, no. Damn, I missed the ledge. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, the frames for like, I guess the hit points or boxes for some of these ledges are like really unforgiving. So if you just miss it by a little bit, like, and hit the lip of it, like, you're not gonna make it.
Yeah, Barbie games and weird platforms seems to be
yeah.
pretty synonymous at this point, yeah.
For sure.
Also, I just keep thinking about, like, with all the up and down and sideways movement, like, how really cool this movement could be if you didn't just slow down at the end. Like,
I know.
if they just fixed... You could just be schmooving across the map this whole time. That'd be rad.
Totally agree.
They have to put a cap on the fun somewhere.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, because
Yeah.
hopping everywhere gets A, repetitive, and B, like,
Yeah.
you bump into stuff, you bump into enemies, and I'm shocked that this is, like, what you gotta do. But then we have this nice little slide here that we have to jump up and get this last person. And there was a trap there that block of ice had nothing in it. 100% useless. But there's one all the way up the top here that does. And then we move on over here to our next one. I also hate these, like, little... I missed one block. These little
Oh my gosh, come on.
jumps that I feel like I don't need to jump that much for it, but I'm just like, my normal jump is just out of reach, so then I have to do like that really slow animation for jumping. But let's see, that's nothing there, and then we have a person here that we can just do that. And then I need him because this body of water is not small enough to just get across with that. I had to wait for him, and luckily I don't have to wait for his cycle or anything. Alright, and then this is another example of one of those things where you have to backtrack. This is the only way to get to this person, is you have to jump up top here and then go all the way to the left. And this is like the only thing that's over here. And then you have to go all the way back to the right to get the last couple of people. And this is the last snow level. And the snow boss, I think, is interesting. I think they kind of ran out of ideas.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see.
I'm looking forward to this then.
So, whoops. Oh my
Come on
goodness.
with the ice block. Yeah.
Here we go. Just, you know, need to be so finicky. And we'll just jump through these, you know, inconvenient as per usual. And we'll slide down here and we'll only have 2 more people left. This is one of them. And then jump over this. And then there's one last goblin. Oops. There we go. And now we have the snow boss, which is just Indiana Jones. We are out running a snowball through ice. And I just learned that you could actually jump over these ice blocks in some places, which I think is very interesting. The wall is not in your way for once, so if you angle it just right, you can just hop over some of them.
It's like the world's lowest stakes boulder crash, because that boulder is just going super slow.
Yeah. There's like no way
Very
to
generous.
speed this up, because in these boss levels, you don't even have access to all of your power-ups. You only have access to the one power they want you to use. So
Of course.
we just gotta go through all these ice blocks. And it feels like it's never ending sometimes. Like there's just so many levels that we're going down. 3 blocker. Alright, there we go. And we should be coming up here, yeah. And then it just falls into the ice. And now we're going to do the final boss battle. There are some flashing lights that we will be experiencing here just because this game really wants to hurt your eyes for no reason. So this final boss fight, as you can see, is very reminiscent to the first one. We got 2 chandeliers now, though.
Whoa.
And so we can hit him twice as fast, but no, we can't hit him here. We have to wait until he comes back this way and then do it. And then he'll walk back again all the way this way. And then we jump up on the chandelier. And then the only difference is he has this second phase, which is where the flashing lights come in, where this is RNG. He's gonna hide himself in one of these statues. All right, we got pretty lucky there. And he does it 3 times, but it is RNG which one he goes into. So we're getting pretty lucky with our positioning here.
Yeah, 2 for 2 so far. Come on, man.
Okay, good. I have had it where it's like gone to like the one on the left twice and then the one on the right. And then time is when we get to the credits, which is here. That's time. And that's Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus. There's the castle in the sky. Not that one. But
not the castle.
Not the castle in the sky. Just a castle in the sky. But yeah, that is the run. I hope you guys enjoyed. You can find me on Twitch as MenaceMans. I'm also on Blue Sky. And I also will be at a GDQ all week. And I'm really excited to meet people. I will be working at the Fatels table for a couple of shifts. So if you guys want to check out Frame Fatels, I will be there. And I hope you all have a happy new year. And see you in 2025.
I love it. Thank you so much, man. That was awesome. And yeah, who doesn't want to ring in the new year with some incredible Barbie GBA action? I think everybody would. It's kind of the ideal scenario. So thank you so much for being here. And yeah, I can't wait to meet you and a bunch of other people too at AGDQ. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, thank you so much again for running that. And before we jump into our next toy-related endeavor here, we are going to take a little bit of a break. So feel free to get use the bathroom. If you have any wands at home that you would like to smack people with, you can do that. I guess it's kind of up to you. But regardless, we'll see you here in just a few short moments. All right, and welcome back to Awfully Silly, everyone. My name is Conception, and we are rocking on New Year's Eve a little bit today with toy-themed video games. We kicked it off with an incredible run of Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus for the Game Boy Advance by Menace Mans. Fun, really silly game, really a lot of really interesting tech to it as well. So thanks for Mans for running that for us. Before we jump into our next toy-themed video game, wanted to remind everyone of a few things as well. First, if you like Hotfix and you're always like, I have a really cool idea for a show, and I wonder if this would work on the network. Well, that's great, because we are hiring. That's right. We're looking for new showrunners in 2025. So if you're interested in part-time work with a recurring show similar to this one or other shows you might have seen on the network, feel free to go on over to gamesdonequick.com/jobs. That'll get you some more information about how you can apply to run your own show. Secondly, if you're looking for even more GDQ beyond AGDQ and beyond Back to Black, we also have the next all women and femmes speedrunning event, which is going to be Frost Fatales 2025, coming right up. It's going to be in March 9th through the 16th, and they're going to be benefiting the National Women's Law Center. So be sure you're going to want to go on over to gamesdonequick.com/frame fatales. That's going to get you some more information on the event itself. You can check out the schedule and everything like that as soon as everything is ready, of course. So without further ado, yes, we are rocking in Toyland, and this one features characters. Toy is right in the name, so I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that this fits into the theme at all. But it's also a very silly game with a lot of very endearing characters from a certain era of the Nicktoons world, and that is right. We are doing Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots, and it's going to be run by Crow3893. So Crow, the floor is yours. Take us to Nintendo Land. I mean, Nickelodeon Land.
Thank you very much, Conception. Hello, everyone. My name is Crow3893. I'm going to be running Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots Any %. So this game released in 2007 for the Wii and PS2. The main story revolves around the Jimmy Neutron antagonist, Professor Calamitous, going to be titled The Biggest Genius, and he is doing this by using Krabby Patties, fairies, and ghost energy. Keep those three in mind, as they're going to be very useful in this run. Now, alongside with this, he's also being able to use this because of the Krabby Patties and mainly the ghost energy and fairies. He ended up stealing a bunch of them from each of the dimensions of the Nicktoons universe. So he steals the Krabby Patties from SpongeBob, he steals Ghost Energy from Danny Phantom's universe, and also obviously the fairies from the Fairy Odd Parents series. Now, this game is gonna be pretty glitchy. There's gonna be a lot of stuff that's gonna happen in the run. Definitely some things to keep your eyes open, because a lot of stuff's gonna happen. And before the run starts, I just want to give, I might as well just explain about the first level, because the entire level is going to go by so quick that I'm not going to have enough time to explain the actual story, the actual, main premise of it, compared to the amount of tricks I'm going to have to explain. But basically, the first level involves with SpongeBob and Patrick, as they deliver a bunch of Krabby Patties. However, the robots that are in the factory that they are delivering it to, they end up stealing all of them, and SpongeBob has to save Patrick again in order to get him back, because the robots ended up kidnapping Patrick as they were taking on the Krabby Patties. I'll also just say this, the time doesn't actually start here. There's going to be this auto-saving segment, so it's going to start pretty soon. But I'll give a countdown from 5, and then we can start time on go, because it starts on the first loading screen. Alright, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Ooh, best of luck.
Alrighty, welcome to the first level. Thank you very much. This is Bikini Bottom, and as I mentioned, it involves SpongeBob and Patrick delivering a bunch of Krabby Patties, but right here, we're just going to be glitching out already in the start of the run. As soon as we gain control of SpongeBob, we're going to be abusing a form of momentum storage. Not just the first time, but the second time we're here as well. This is something called roll cancel. This is a fast momentum speed, where every single time you roll off of any type of platform that has like a corner, and you just let go of the analog stick, you're able to go double the distance in twice the amount of time, or the same amount of time registered as an input compared to rolling. Because rolling is double your normal walking speed, and this can save definitely a lot of time, as well as making sure to be able to make it into certain cycles, which I'm trying to make sure to go for in this beginning of the level, because the beginning of the level has a global cycle, which I might have missed because I accidentally missed the wheel, but I might be able to pull this off. Okay, nope.
We tried.
That's alright. It only loses around 7 seconds, but it is a cool one to pull off. It's very movement heavy as well. But this level basically introduces like what's going to be like the main premise of what we're going to be seeing in the speedrun, which is mostly going to be about rolling and also like skipping certain like areas and saving time, but also doing some pretty interesting glitches like this one. And I want to give a cool little interest in something you can do in the Nicktoons universe, but it's a common meme, but you can actually T-pose in this game.
Woo! Hit the T-pose.
Definitely. So that's actually a hidden feature that's never really been mentioned in the game before. Also, I just got hit in the air. That's actually pretty funny that I was able to pull that off. But yeah, so T-posing is very weird because the way it works is that for some reason in this game, you can actually grab certain enemies when they have that little stun animation. And when they end up getting, when you end up grabbing that, the enemy, not first of all, yeah, you can grab, which we never knew about because that's actually never mentioned in like any like game source material. That was something I accidentally discovered a while ago, so it was pretty an interesting find to, like, after like 17 years. It's pretty interesting that like that kind of feature was discovered in the game for so long. But also, it just results in a T-pose every single time you jump in. It's pretty funny. It only does it with certain characters, but it's still a pretty funny one to get. Also, we're currently now inside of Factory Zone 1, and this is basically like the mechanical area where we are introduced to the robot evil toys. Now, why we're here is because at the end of Bikini Bottom, when we saved Patrick, we also met up with Tack and Timmy Turner. And now we're currently here because Tack mentioned that there are other heroes nearby that are trapped, and we basically have to save them, so that's why we're entering this factory. And normally, normally when you play this game, you don't really have to collect any of the master models, which are the main collectibles. But currently, right now, we are doing that, and this is one of the examples of us collecting the first one by just going on top of like a giant invisible area, like just a giant invisible platform in the air, and just gonna be able to like unload certain elements at the later section of the level, where I can be able to just hit a debug trigger and enter into the master model of Gers. And Gers master models normally tend to be played at the very end because he's not a character you unlock until way later in the game, because you have to unlock him with unlocking another character and another one who you don't get until like halfway into the game. But we are able to just do a glitch right there by just unloading this certain area, which causes some certain elements to load as well as like their collision, which is why I was able to hit the debug, because normally the debug is actually trapped alongside like a giant piece of like a long pipe. But because that part's unloaded, we can just enter in, and that's it. Do this level much earlier than intended. And it's one of the only few glitches we'll be seeing in this run, and it's only been like the first 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, loaded so far. Wow.
Yep. Now we're gonna be entering inside the master model chamber. So this is gonna be you're definitely gonna be seeing this for quite a bit. So definitely get used to the whole atmosphere for it, because we're gonna be seeing it for like another like 30% of the run. And this, if you may not know, it's heavily inspired off of Invader Zim, as you can definitely tell like some of the models and some of the textures. But also, if you'll see right here, the Urkin Armada logo is right here for both areas. That is with both of these button pads that have to slam. And doing this allows me to collect a master model, which is basically the main requirement in the game, which is like this, I guess the B plot for the game, because the A plot is mainly just having to stop Professor Calamitous, but the B plot is also collecting master models for a certain character who we will not see in the run, but his name is Chatbot. We will see him at the end in the end credits though. But basically, Chatbot is telling us that we'd have to collect at least like a certain amount of master models in order to enter into certain levels, which is locked for certain areas, so that's why we're currently collecting them right now. It's just so we can already have some beforehand and make sure that we don't have to worry about collecting too many of them by the end point, just to save a little bit more time. Then, because master models themselves are more focused heavily with with backtracking as well. So that's something we make sure to limit heavily, because there is going to be some backtracking. But thankfully, with the route that we've been able to implement in the past couple of years, we were able to shorten it down so we can save a little bit more time with it. And speaking of time save, here we're going to be entering into Jenny's master model without Jenny. Which, yeah, certain Nicktoons characters can be played in this game, which is pretty cool. And what I just did right there is I just jumped on another invisible platform, but instead of having to unload the area, I was able to just jump on top of the pipe section where you normally enter in for the master model. And the debug trigger is actually outside as well. It extends outside. We don't know why it's like that, but it's how it is for most of the master models, and we will be seeing a similar one again. But it is a pretty cool concept being able to see like how we can enter in these levels and just be able to do them as like certain characters, because the game doesn't really keep track of if you're playing as that character. Just as long as that trigger is hit, then you can just enter into it with no consequences or no issues. So that's why we can just easily do this as SpongeBob and also enter in as Tack as well. Because the master models themselves, they're basically character required levels, but we can basically just like enter in them without the need of character, which is very helpful. Some of them unfortunately cannot because they didn't really have glitches in terms of like entering them, which we will be encountering like a few of them in the run, but that's because they're also the fastest. And I also collected the master model of Mr. Blick from Cat Scratch. That was definitely a fun one.
Oh, Cat Scratch, jeez, haven't thought about that in years.
Yeah, master models are based off of are based off of other Nicktoons characters, because fun fact, this game had a lot of stuff planned where there were a lot of like scrapped elements and everything, because this was the game where they had a lot to include, but due to like the short development time, they weren't able to include a lot. So, and a lot of them was mainly also with a bunch of master models. And there's also a YouTube video that goes over this, but there's an entire YouTube video where it's nothing but like a bunch of unused voice lines, and it's like over 100 unused voice lines for every character.
Wow.
Which is still crazy to really think about.
Jeez, that's wild. Yeah, that's so many.
Yep. So in the meantime, we're just going to be exiting into the end of this, the end of the factory. Now, I should also mention this. So, actually, wait, before I do that, I actually want to do a little funny joke. So, normally you end the level by entering this pipe, but you can just do this. You can just jump on an invisible platform and hit the end level trigger. It's pretty funny.
Nice.
It doesn't really save time, but it's really funny to show off. But yeah, so you may be wondering, how come we're entering into Factory Zone 1 again? So, every single factory, there's 3 factories in this game: Factory Zone 1, Factory Zone 2, and Factory Zone 3. Now, each of them all have 2 parts. So we just finished part 1 of Factory Zone 1. So we're going to be entering, so now we're entering into part 2. And this changes, you can easily tell like if it's different because of the level atmosphere, but also like seeing like different elements or like different enemies and things that you never really encountered in the first level. And coming up here is a pretty cool skip, so I'm going to try and see if I can get this. Nice! Got that first try. That's pretty sick.
Let's go.
Nice. So that's a trick called any character skip. The way it works is, so going on how I mentioned like with how roll cancels work, and like in the beginning of Bikini Bottom when I was able to jump out of the pipe, that was a form of momentum storage. This is also another use of it. So every single time you jump inside of a master model pipe, like there's a little bit of wind that like pulls you up, and if you jump into it, you actually get a little bit more speed when you end up going up. And because of this, normally there's like an invisible wall that like just blocks you. However, because you get whenever you jump into the wind, it pushes you up so high that you go past the invisible wall and you're slightly airborne, and you can just jump, and the debug trigger is literally like right above where it's at, because the developers never intended it to happen. However, that was definitely a cool trick. That was something I like theorized one day, and then I tested it out, and to realize that it actually worked was definitely like awesome, and it was pretty cool to be able to pull it off, and at least for that one particularly, because it's mainly for Patrick's master model. It only saves like 7 seconds, but it is definitely one it's definitely a hard one to pull off, but it's really cool, like, and satisfying to pull off in the end when you end up getting the trick. All right, so that's another master model collected. That is of Aang from Avatar. Quick conception I should just say that it's not Aang, that's not Ong, it's Aang.
Okay,
so
good.
Don't listen to the movie.
Okay. I try my hardest to forget the movie exists, so I appreciate you saying that.
What movie? There was no movie.
Exactly. You understand. You get it.
Yes. Much like how we should probably, like, I guess, remember that Attack apparently had a TV show, which is kind of why he was introduced in this game. Because That's why we're playing as him, because even though, like, yeah, Tak had games, he also had the TV show, which released around the same time as this game, and they wanted to help, like, tie in for it, so that's why he was, like, mainly, like, a cover art character. We also switched with him to enter into his Master Model level. Also, nice little dialogue cut off. I call upon, and then it just cuts off. It's pretty fun.
We don't need the rest of that line.
Yeah, cutscene cutoffs are definitely very funny for this game. There's, like, definitely, like, some in particular that the community likes to make jokes about. So this level is going to be done normally, but I'm going to try and see if I can just go for a certain trick here. Nice. Okay, so I did a little bit of a sequence skip right there, but I didn't do that just for the sole purpose of saving time. This is also going to result in something crazy happening in the level. So you can see everything's all fine, but in a couple seconds, the game is just, we don't know what's going on, but the skybox has just shown up, and because of this, not many of the level elements are loaded in, and I am able to just go out of bounds from this point, and we're just falling into the void.
Love that.
I'll explain what's going to be happening. I just have to focus on a timing real quick. Nice. Okay, cool. I got the little movement strat. So basically what's happening right here is that I'm going out of bounds, and the way out of bounds works in this game is that you're basically falling, and once you hit the low value limit, the game essentially like does it as a failsafe where it wraps you up a certain value height. Generally, it's normally the highest value for most of the levels, but for this level, it's a certain height. And because of this, I'm going to try and see if I can do... Let's go! I got the strat. Let's go. I made the jumps.
Let's go.
So what's currently happening right here is I was able to fall out of bounds, and you saw that I entered into Tak's Master Model level for Factory Zone 1, which was the level we were previously in. Now, I just did the out of bounds maneuvering, and when doing this, I was able to enter in his Master Model level for Factory Zone 3, because Tak, SpongeBob, and Danny all have different Master Models. As you can see, this is different compared to the previous ones we saw, as this one's more like heavy platforming compared to the previous ones, which are just generic platforming Master Model levels. So basically, with this one, we're just gonna continue on with the rest of the level because we're gonna be transported, as I mentioned, to Factory Zone 3's Tak's Master Model level, which saves a lot more, which basically like, it's gonna like skip a lot of the game. And to get more an example of how much this saves, it saves almost 20 minutes in the speed run.
20 minutes,
which is
wow. Okay,
yeah, 20 whole minutes.
Huge.
We just skipped like half the game just from this out of bounds maneuvering. Also, I'm gonna go for a cool little jump here. Nice, I got the jump. That's pretty cool. That one is also very cycle dependent. Some of the tricks in this game like heavily revolve on cycles or also just like RNG, unfortunately, but we find ways to like just manipulate through it, which is hopefully gonna not encounter too many times in the Master Model chambers, because the chambers themselves are RNGs depending on some of the character movements, but it also varies on which character specifically, such as these ones. So in the previous ones, you actually saw like the little blocks. Those are called blocks with 2 Ks. No C's, because 2007 Nicktoons to seem pretty cool. These ones are called Mr. Huggles, and they are basically like cute little stuffed teddy bears, which I guess fall along more of the toys in the Toybots specifically. However, there is a bit of a dark fact about it, because their toy box that they have, it has like a pretty dark meaning in the back of the box, where they say that they will find you and they would kill you and your parents. And I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. That's literally like in the texture files for it.
Yeah, it's a little dark. That's a little dark for this.
Yeah, you never really expect that from a Nicktoons game.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it would. It's unknown why the developers, I guess, kind of implemented that part, but because of that reason, it's never shown in the final game unless like you use like some kind of like camera hack to be able to see it. But it is in the final game, but because of the camera's angles and like the placements of each of them, they're very hidden. But yeah, they actually exist alongside with the fact that they say like you will never sleep again. But it's also kind of a bit dark considering that yeah, you never really expected that from a Nicktoons game.
Yeah, what were they doing? They must have been having a pretty sad time making this game, I'm guessing.
To be fair, it took them like under a year to make the game. So maybe
one of those deals. Got it.
It's one of those deals.
I understand. It all makes sense now. I get it.
Definitely. Yeah, so I should also mention this. We've been in Factory Zone 3 this entire time, but not just Factory Zone 3, the later section of it, and as well in Part 2. And this is basically like what lets like the whole like 20-minute time save, is that we're able to just skip like almost everything in the entire game. And because of this, we're able to just go to like the later point, and we're continuing on for two reasons. One is to be able to collect a master model, which is coming up very shortly right here, using a similar way that we entered in like with Jenny's, which is by hitting a trigger that's out of bounds right here. Nice, got it. That's pretty cool. That one's a little bit. That one's actually very precise because you have to be slightly off of the area of where the pipe is, because normally like when you get like sucked up by the wind, it's usually inside of the area, but like it's slightly outside. We don't know why, but like I guess it was a developer insight, and because of that, it was able to just be like land on it, because the outside points of the pipe itself have collision, which was very helpful for us as we're able to, because every single time you just land on like anything that the game registers as a platform, you'd immediately like land and retain both of your jumps for, which we will be seeing again for another interesting cool like trick that actually involves with our ally, even though they're just standing around doing nothing right there. As you can see, Tack is just doing nothing, and I just slammed into him, making him fall. But don't worry, he'll come back. There he is. Nice. So yeah, that's basically the end of like the master model collecting for now. Right now we're just going to be going to the end level, because we're doing this because for some reason the game knows that, like we haven't really completed the first section of Factory Zone 1. We haven't completed all of it, and because of that, that's normally how we unlock the main hub world, which is the basement. However, because we never really completed Factory Zone 1, we have to complete a certain level, just any level in particular. The game just registers as it to be able to let us unlock the basement. So that's why we're going to be completing the level, because we have no way to continue the rest of the run without having to complete it. But it's all fine, because this gets done in like less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, this
should also mention this as well. The characters have a bunch of dialogue like every 20 seconds, so you're going to be hearing SpongeBob talk throughout most of the run.
Of course,
so
that's what we
he's
live
got
for.
it covered for me. He's my commentator.
Yeah, you should put him on the couch, SpongeBob. Get him his GDQ credits.
Yep. Give him his GDQ credit. Yep. Just like put a picture of him right there as well. Yeah, so we're currently just like defeating a bunch of UFOs right now, and this kind of like falls alongside more of the Invader Zim references, because the people who were inside of those flying saucers were actually Urkins, and yeah, I don't think we got Zim. Zim's okay, at least in this game. Plus, you play as Gur, so I really doubt that he would even want to like kill Gur, even though like as much as like he doesn't like him. All right, so now we're back inside of Factory Zone 1. This is actually where we skipped with the Tack Master Model Warp, and because of this, we're now just going to be collecting the remaining Master Models. So we have 4 more to collect. And during this, I'm basically just going to have to make sure to complete the levels as quickly as possible, because these are basically the 4 fastest master models to collect. And this one comes in with another use of the, with the character, well, hold on, I'll just pull this off first and then see if I can remember. Alright, nice. Nice! First try, let's go!
You're crushing it. Let's go.
Let's go. So, I mentioned earlier how, like, anything that's registered as a platform that a character lands on, is they just immediately like land and have grounded frames, and also have their jumps restored. That's another example right there, because for some reason, if you jump on top of your ally's head, it just registers as a platform, and you can just jump and slightly walk off of it, as well as get a little bit of an extended height, which is what I did for that trick right there. So that trick is called box hop, and it saves around 20 seconds, or like 15 to 20 seconds, because you skip a little like trampoline section and have to avoid a lot of spikes. Yeah, even though, like, yeah, like, it's Nicktoons, this game still has a dark turn, because you have to make sure to avoid a bunch of spikes. Okay, there we go.
Dang, this game.
Alright, so what I just did right there is I entered inside the character selection screen for Amity Park. Amity Park is another level that we skipped, but I didn't enter in the level specifically. I only entered into its character selection screen because it's a certain way to unlock 2 characters, which are Sam and Danny Phantom. And the other reason is mainly because if I didn't do that, and if I were to try to enter into the final level, the game would crash, which would be pretty unfortunate. But luckily, we were able to find a way to prevent that from happening. Alright, so this is Factory Zone 2, and this is basically like a little combat section, but this is like kind of RNG dependent because of some of the enemies, mainly the bulldozers, that we will be seeing again soon in the run. But basically what's happening is I switched to Sam, because the 2 characters who I unlocked when entering to Amity Park We're both Samantha Manson and Danny Phantom, and we're mainly going to be using this to collect Sam's master model. Also, this is the shortest one in the game, so enjoy the next like 5 seconds of it. There we go. Woo, that easy. Yeah, some of the master models are like way shorter than you may ever anticipate. Some of them are incredibly long. I think the longest master model is like 3 minutes, and that's either one of Danny's or SpongeBob's master model levels, because SpongeBob and Danny have different master models compared, like different master model levels compared to the other ones that we normally have been seeing. As SpongeBob has like a flying section, and Danny has like I guess you can say like more of an escort like mission where you have to like defeat like you have to like break certain blocks and everything in order to progress, and breaking down certain generators. But they are pretty cool concepts. It's pretty nice. Also, here's another master model. This one's going to be of Cat Dog, and we can just, so what's actually pretty cool is that after every master model we can just work back into the basement, which is pretty useful. And I should also mention this as well. Normally in the, like, whenever you go back, at least for the Wii version, you would have auto saving. But for this version, because at the beginning of the run, I actually tried to purchase a costume, which was not a movement mistake. That actually results in, for some reason, the auto saving getting disabled. We don't know how it happens, but for some reason, if you don't have enough like of the currency, which are called circuits, as you can see right here, if you don't have enough of them and you try purchasing a costume and you're unable to purchase them, it just randomly disables autosave. We don't know why this happens, but then again, it's free time save in the speedrun. This saves like 30 seconds in any percent.
Yeah, that's so great for the speedrun, but it always just makes me laugh at what things are connected and whenever you program a game.
Yep, such as this right here. Here comes a pretty cool out of bounds, but I just have to make sure the stun bunnies don't get me. Oh, and I got hit. Nope. Oh! That was pretty funny. Alright, I'm gonna try this again. Let's see if I can do it. This one's more precise, so I am gonna focus. Okay. Let's go!
Unstoppable.
Nice! Alright, so what I did right there is I was able to enter into Jimmy's master model level without Jimmy. So basically, you normally unlock Jimmy Neutron at the end of Factory Zone 1, but because we never completed it, we just didn't unlock him entirely, and we just did the out of bounds without him. Now, the out of bounds itself, it saves only like 7 seconds compared to like doing it normally, but because we avoided having to unlock Jimmy Neutron, that saves having to complete the rest of Zone 1 that you normally do after completing Jimmy's master model in Factory Zone 1, which we did previously. And because we don't do that entirely, and we don't have to like complete Factory Zone 1, that saves like over 45 seconds, which is a lot.
Huge. Yeah, that's huge.
Yep. And here comes the final master model, which is Timmy's for Factory Zone 2. So some of the characters have like more than one master model. Like as I mentioned, Tak, SpongeBob, and Danny have three of them, one in each level. Sam and Timmy also have two of them as well, which we have experienced in both of the run, and like both of them in this run, which is pretty cool. And this one's like at the very end, and luckily it's very close to where we respawned in for the checkpoint. So there's gonna be swapping over to Timmy, and then right here, this is like essentially another like, this is a little section where like the platforms fall, and I just did a little def right there to cause their animation to end a little bit earlier, saving like a couple frames. And this is like a little bit of a feature. Oh, dang, okay, so I jumped. Nope. Oh. And that's an example right there. I just clipped through the platform. That's one of the unfortunate issues, that even though like they fall down, as you can see right there, it takes a little bit longer before like their model and their collision is fully loaded in, because it has a little bit of a delay. We don't know why, but it's just like that. So we have to intentionally wait a little bit more before we can even jump on them, which makes it a little bit more tougher, but at the same time, it's kind of why like I guess this game was a lot more difficult than the other ones. But definitely it was more of a, I guess like a short development time. But then again, who knows? Alright, so that was another instance of RNG with the bulldozer, because the bulldozer was actually the second enemy I hit compared to the firefighter wheelie, as the bulldozer ones normally charge towards you, but the wheelies end up just, well, not the wheelies, the firefighter ones particularly, they just shoot a projectile at you, but the bulldozer is basically charged towards you. Alongside this, I was also trying to attempt, throughout the run, I'm basically attempting like certain areas where I'm making sure that the enemies are off screen, because whenever they're in that stun animation and they're off screen, they just unload entirely, so that just saves a little bit more time. And speaking of time, I'm also going to be entering into Fairy World now because we now collected the final master model, and we can now enter into Fairy World and also Professor Calamitous' Lair, which is the last level. Now, Fairy World itself is essentially where it comes with the main point in like Professor Calamitous' like scheme of having to do the like becoming the biggest genius, where he uses fairies, and he does this by attracting a bunch of them to a fast food all-you-can-eat buffet, which
Gets me
sounds
every
kind
time.
of funny.
Gets me every time, you know? Can't
Honestly,
resist it.
It would get me as well. It would get me as well. Like $10, all you can eat.
Whew.
That sounds worth it.
That's $10 of my life.
True. Speaking of which, should now mention this as well. Because fairies can also fly, Timmy has become a fairy and is now able to fly, and we're going out of bounds. And we're basically going out of bounds from the beginning of the level to the very end. Now, unfortunately, the skip is not really too flashy. It's going to be a constant, like, cycle loop of just, like, the background switching from, like, how it is right now. It's, like, a black image and then back again for, like, another 2.5 minutes. So, in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about, like, I guess just some of the stuff that's really been, like, occurring, like, with, like, mainly just, like, the level itself. Because this level has changed drastically in, like, less than a year. It originally, like, took, like, 5 minutes, and now it takes only 3.5 minutes because of so many out-of-bounds skips and everything we were able to find. And then we eventually found this one, which saves like over a minute and a half compared to being the whole level casually itself, because it skips a bunch of like auto-scrollers, a couple of RNG dependent segments, as well as some inconsistent ones, which are very cycle dependent and can kind of load in randomly. So yeah, other than that, I don't really have nothing else to say. Conception, if you have anything that you'd like to say, the floor is yours for like the next 2 minutes.
Ah, yes. I love when a trick is so effective that that there is nothing you can do besides just watching yourself fly through the sky endlessly. Those are always
and just
so
seeing
fun.
so many unloaded, like so many things are just not loaded in properly.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Crow. Then. So obviously you play this game. You play a lot of other games in this kind of realm as well, like this Nicktoons realm. Was Nicktoons like a big part of your childhood? And if so, what were your favorite shows?
Oh, yeah, it actually was. I was a Nicktoons kid growing up.
For sure. I had a feeling.
Admit.
I had a feeling.
I wonder what gave it away.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, so I mainly watched a lot of Nicktoons growing up, mostly like Nickelodeon shows. Of course, SpongeBob, because that's all they mostly aired around the time.
Yeah, who didn't?
But I mostly had a lot of the games growing up as well. This one was actually like one of the first games I played on my PS2 back in like 2009. I was like very young at that time, and then like I used to just like play it a lot, even though I wasn't very good, and I would just replay the same save files that my brothers would already have.
Right,
but
sure.
Who cares? It was Nicktoons.
Yeah, you had fun. That's what matters.
Yeah, and then eventually I ended up picking up a copy of Battle for Volcano Island, which was the Nicktoons game that released before it. I ended up playing that one, and it was pretty good up until my PS2 stopped reading the disc, because the PS2 just died.
Mm-hmm.
But that was kind of unfortunate. But shortly afterwards, I was actually able to also I was also given a copy of Nicktoons Unite for the Game Boy Advance by my aunt for Christmas a couple years later, which it's not a bad game, but it's kind of a bit of a tedious one as well. We also just skipped, well, not skipped, but we also just like finished the end of the level by essentially just skipping everything. And we were able to like stop Professor Calamitous from getting any more fairies, and now we're currently entering inside his lair, as we're going to be trying to go to the Biggest Genius show and being able to just like stop him from becoming the biggest genius. And this is a pretty interesting segment because this involves with us being inside of a mech suit. As you can see right here, SpongeBob is inside a giant robot suit, which I never really anticipated to have, but then again, this is probably canonical, so who knows?
Yeah.
Yep, so this section is basically just like different compared to like the other ones, because the like everything in the run you've seen is mostly like about like platforming. This one is just more of like a shooter section. It's not like 3D shooting, but it's just more of like seeing like and like make sure to not hit like certain like certain parts, not getting hit by certain things, and as well with the missiles from the enemies themselves. This is also like definitely like one of the hardest points in the run itself, just because it can be very dependent on whether or not you can be able to defeat certain things, because one of the main points in this level is having to defeat generators, which normally take a decent amount of hits, but sometimes because the enemies you can see right here, there are a bunch of like these blue things, which I like to pretend they are water balloons, but they're probably like some kind of blue goo. And they're basically like all in our way to prevent us from like defeating certain like generators in order for us to progress onwards with levels, but also with some, unfortunately, some level load issues that might happen in the run. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen, because that one is completely random if it's gonna happen or not. Unfortunately, it thankfully it hasn't happened when I did practice attempts, but I just don't want to get the hopes too high up yet, because who knows what can happen in this run. I should also mention this as well. So throughout this level, I'm going to be defeating these certain enemies right here, these giant like mechanical robots, or like these giant like robotic ones. So these are called Big Tin robots, and these, again, kind of follow along more with the toy aspect theme of this game. They basically are like the one enemy that we encounter a couple times in this level, but I'm also defeating them because they also give me the goo missiles that I need to be able to shoot goo missiles, as you can see right there. And because of this, you'll be able to see it right here, but there we go. That's another example. Those are goo missiles. Now, I am limited to a certain amount, but that's why I actually switched and upgraded to SpongeBob's mech suit for MK2. So SpongeBob has a second mech suit upgrade, where if you actually hold down the missile button, he shoots out a bunch of missiles, and it's pretty funny, because but then again, it's like, did they do this as like a sort of favoritism because of SpongeBob and how like he's like the main staple of Nickelodeon now? But then again, I don't know. That might be giving them a little extra credit beyond what happened here. Well, to be fair, they also did have to involve with Krabby Patties in the story as well. You have to. There's also that. You have to. You're always hamstrung by the patties, so you have to get them in there. Definitely. I mean, who can't resist the Krabby Patty? I couldn't. When they were at Wendy's, I got them a few times. Lucky. I never actually had one before, so I never got to experience a true Nicktoons experience. Yeah, I don't. To be honest, I don't know if eating it at Wendy's, I had a true Nicktoons experience either. But you know, I do love a burger, so I can't complain. That's actually fair. That's totally valid. Burgers are good. Alrighty, so this is like in some sections of this level, in order to like, I guess this is like a hidden way to like show like how like certain parts of the level have to load in, is just by including these like auto-scrolling segments, as you saw right there. Like there was that one right there, and there was another one earlier on. Also, oh, yep, invisible barrier. So I defeated that little like barrier right there that shot like some lasers, but there's a random chance where after you defeat it, it still like has like its hitbox collision intact, and that unfortunately happened right there. It's a pretty random one, and it does lose some time because every time you get hit, you get knocked back slightly, which loses a couple frames, but also like you're unable to move for like a few seconds as well, which is pretty unfortunate. But then again, it's just making sure to try to get to this level as quick as we can. I'm also making sure to walk in the center part of this level right here, because I'm trying to make sure I can load in this part of the level, because if I avoided a certain load trigger, I would have to die, and that will lose around like 2 minutes because of it. I unfortunately had that happen in a run, but luckily there was a way to be able to prevent it from happening. Speaking of time save and time loss, there is also an out of bounds that can be done in this game. However, it is very precise and very inconsistent, because it requires pause buffering, and pause buffering for this game is pretty tough to pull off, because you have to do it in a certain rhythm, and you also have to make sure to get the precise movement as well in order to, like, when going out of bounds, because one simple mess up, it can immediately cost a run. And so I just played it very safe and didn't want to do the out of bounds, but it saves around 50 seconds, which is pretty cool, but it is just very hard to pull off. Speaking of like just something like being able to pull off, is also like being able to like, just something that's also like very hard to pull off is also the soundtrack, because of, I guess, the composer, who probably had so much fun like making the music for this game, being able to pull off this great soundtrack. And you know what? I'll give a little fun fact about this game's composer. The game's composer is none other than Mick Gordon. So yeah, that Mick Gordon, the Doom composer. Yep, heard of that person. He made the OST for a Nicktoons game. So I guess you can say that when the evil is within you, the only thing they fear is Nicktoons. Very good, very good. Not enough Doom representation in Nicktoons lore. I've always said that. Yeah, it's just also like kind of interesting to see, because the Doom reboot came out like 9 years before, like 9 years after this game. So it was pretty nice to see like how much like Mick was able to like go from just Nicktoons originally to bam, already Doom. All right, here comes the final section. This one's gonna be a little bit like inconsistent because it might result in the level not like resulting in like a soft block. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Okay, we're good. We didn't get the soft block. Let's go. All right. This comes the last generator. We are seconds away from calling time. All right, let's see if I can make sure not to get hit. All right. And time.
Woo!
Let's go. 35. That's honestly not bad. That's only like 2 minutes behind of my PB. That would have been kind of cool if it would have been a 34, but hey, 35.
Really
I'm willing
close.
to take
35:01.
it.
It was super close. Like you were right
wow,
there.
that was pretty close.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, that's basically Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots. Pretty happy that I got to show the game off, but let's just we might as well just watch this final cutscene to see like what's basically like been resolved at the end of the game, pretty much, because we skipped like half of it.
Sure. While we're going through that cutscene, feel free if you have any like plugs or shout outs or things you'd like to point the viewers to, by all means.
Oh, sure. First of all, I'd like to give a huge shout out to the Nicktoons speedrunning community. We're not really that much of an active community, but we still like to at least like try and like be able to help out putting in like some strats here and there for all the Nicktoons games. So like Nicktoons Unite, Battle for Volcano Island, this game, Globs of Doom, as well as other miscellaneous ones such as like their portable versions, such as the ones released on the DS and Game Boy, as well as other like Nickelodeon Flash games and other ones that have released like new, such as the Nickelodeon Kart Racer series.
Ah, yes.
Definitely, like if you are interested in speedrunning these games, definitely join the server, and if you want to, you can give it a try. And alongside with that, if you want to give this game a speedrun a try as well, specifically any percent, there is a full any percent tutorial that has been uploaded, which pretty much does the exact same route as this one, as you saw. The only exceptions of those being canceled out are the Patrick any character skip method, as well as the Jimmy Master model out of bounds. But other than that, it's basically like the exact same one. It's basically the exact same like type of route that you'll be doing in this, like that you just saw right now. And it's been like something that like we just wanted to make sure it was something that was useful and like very helpful for new runners. Also, wanted to show off this. So here comes the greatest like in-game subtitle of all time. Cry of dismay.
Cry of dismay.
Cry of dismay.
Just lean right into that weird darkness that Nicktoons loves to have, apparently.
Yeah, and apparently, I guess the darkness for there is also being able to use an electric shaver to shave off Professor Calamitus's mustache.
I can't think of anything scarier, honestly.
That's actually been a running joke since like the beginning of the game as well, because the game show host is all like, "Well, the professor would shave off his ridiculous mustache."
I see. I see.
But he never would.
Yeah, of course not. All right.
Of course not. But
yeah, by all means.
But yeah, and definitely, I might as well also just say this. So, if you are interested in also like checking out like other Nicktoons like stuff, or like other like SpongeBob speedruns or anything like that released around like the generation of these video games, such as like from like the GameCube era to like the Wii U era, because those ones are like my bread and butter for speedruns. You can find me at twitch.tv/crow3893. You can also find my YouTube with the same name as well, youtube.com/@crow3893. You can also find me as well on Blue Sky at crow3893.bsky.social. But other than that, that's basically going to be it. But I also want to give some shoutouts to some runners. So shoutouts to Storage, Snert, Vince, and the only sick boy. Shoutouts to Snert, our glitch hunter in the community. He's been able to help us find a lot of strategies. Storage and Stick Boy, they've been former world record holders who gave me the motivation to try and start running this game. And I'm very happy that I was able to run it and got inspiration from them. And also want to give a huge shout out to like everyone in the community that they're like, because like everyone's been able to put in work and any type of work in the games. And also want to give a huge thank you to Conception for letting me come on here to run this game here for Awfully Silly, which this game kind of falls along the lines of,
yeah,
because it is kind of awfully silly with the Toybots.
Yeah, it's definitely got a silly vibe to it, but what a fun run. I was just talking about how much how cool the movement is and everything like that, plus all the out of bounds tech. What a neat run. So thank you so much for bringing that to us. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for watching, and definitely enjoy the rest of the block for Awfully Silly. Bye-bye.
Yeah, for sure. And for everyone else out there, yeah, we got a couple more runs left for you on this toy-themed episode, but we are going to take a little bit of a break here, so feel free to get up, stretch, maybe go in the garage and see if your mech needs any upgrades. It might be time, so it's always worth checking. And once you're back, we'll see you here in just a few short moments. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Awfully Silly. My name is Conception. If you're just tuning in, we have a toy-themed episode for you. You know, it felt right. You know, holidays were just around the corner. People were unwrapping gifts for various holidays, and maybe they got some toys, and maybe it's time to feel a little nostalgic about some of those toys. Though I think some of the games on here are probably toys that people are not unwrapping on to this day, but that's okay. Irrelevant. We have, so far, we've enjoyed Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus for the GBA by Menace Mans, which was just an incredible run. Followed that up immediately by Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots, rather, I should say, by Crow, which was another incredible run. With both of these runs had fascinating movement tech and weird out of bounds or progression based glitches. They're both so fun, and I know we're going to continue right along with the fun here in just a moment. To remind everybody as well, though, if you'd like to support GDQ Hotfix, you could do so in a few different ways. First of all, we actually have a shirt that you can buy from the Yeti that will go towards supporting Hotfix content directly. That is the 2024 Season 4 shirt. So if you're interested in checking that out and potentially purchasing one, you can go to theyeti.com/agdq. It has a bunch of the show logos on there. You can see the Awfully Silly logo. You can see in the wires a GDQ written underneath there. It's a super cool shirt. Highly recommend. If you would like to support Hotfix in another way, your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel also go towards helping support Games Done Quick Hotfix. So if you're somebody who tunes in regularly, likes watching the speedruns, whether it be at mainlines or whether it be here, we would ask that you consider subscribing to the channel. That's going to get you emotes, chat with other subscribers during our replays, plus with AGDQ right around the corner, you'll be set up for success in being able to chat during the mainline events as well. So highly suggest checking that out if you have not already. All right, without further ado, so this stretches the theme slightly, but not so slightly. One of the most popular toys ever, maybe? It might be ever. I'd have to look it up. But one of the most popular toys ever, potentially, was the Elmo doll, the Tickle Me Elmo and stuff like that. People loved that. People freaked out for it when it came out. And I wanted to channel that energy with this next run, as Kefka is about to take us through Elmo's number journey. So I hope you're ready. It's toy adjacent. It counts. Don't at me. And Kefka, show us some Elmo action.
All right. So first of all, thanks for having me again on Awfully Silly. This is my second time. Yeah, this is my second time on the show. It's been 3 years or so, something like that.
Yes, you were on my second ever episode.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, my second ever episode, and now you're back.
All right. So, this is Elmo's Number Journey on the 64, one of 2 games made on the same engine. The other one is Elmo's Letter Adventure, I believe. And, well, we're going to do some numbers. So, let's just go ahead and kind of get right into this. This game's very broken in a very interesting way. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and give the countdown. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you. So, Elmo likes to talk. All the characters in this game like to talk. They're going to talk a lot. And we can't really skip any of it, unfortunately. It doesn't really matter. Game is super short. There are 3 levels in the game. Well, technically 6, but 3 areas. Our first area we're going to here is Ernie's area. We can do them in any order that we like, really. I just do them in this order because, if you want my honest thoughts. But I'm going to start off by showing you guys what makes this game so broken. So you can see here, the goal, we walk around, we walk up to the number 7. Ernie wants us to find 7s. But we're going to lose a little time intentionally here, and I'm going to explain something to you guys. If you press L, R, and start on a 64 controller, it remaps the dead zone of your joystick. And this game's dead zone is extremely badly programmed. And as such, we can double Elmo's movement speed.
We're schmoving now.
We're schmoving. We can go so fast that the camera can't even keep up. But there'll be times we'll have to kind of fidget and get the camera back in situated. So yeah, Elmo is just super fast now, which is hilarious, of course.
Hey,
And yeah, that's basically the main tech in this game. The reason I lost time to do it is I wanted to show what Elmo's actual movement speed looked like first, before kind of turning on the turbo movement, if you will. Yeah. Now, the positions of the numbers are random, and sometimes that's great for you, sometimes that's bad for you. The name of this game is kind of RNG. There is definitely skill to it in terms of the movement and stuff. And you can even memorize some of the seed layouts for the numbers as well. We got the worst RNG on this bonus level. Naturally.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. At the end of every level, though, we have to play the bonus round. And I'm just going to let Elmo explain it.
To get a ball, go to the bucket and press one of the option buttons. Ring the bell when you have the right number.
Yeah, so
If you want to take
unfortunately we have to do this bonus round 3 times. And every single time, Elmo's going to give us the exact same spiel. Now, the goal here is to, Elmo will give us a specified number, and we have to throw that amount of baseballs into the clown there, and then get it correct. Now, you'll notice I'm getting it wrong. Oh, no, we're supposed to throw in 4. Here, we're supposed to throw in 8. No, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to get it wrong 3 times in a row. That's because it's faster. It turns out that in order to win the bonus round, all you have to do is win the last one. We got terrible RNG, of course. The numbers it gives you are RNG. You want to see a low number for the last one, so you don't have to stand here and throw baseballs for a bit. But this is an event, so of course, we're gonna get some of the biggest numbers we can get in the game. I know I can barely count to 6, so this is rough.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. So Kefka, you said failing the first couple is just faster, but I have a growing concern that you might not know how to count. Do we need to teach you?
Well, if they ask for something bigger than 6, we're gonna have a problem. So I'll just
my
say it that
gosh.
way. Yes.
Oh
That's
my
why we're
gosh.
playing this, though. We're learning our numbers, right?
So if you know 7 or beyond, be on standby. We're gonna need some assistance.
Oh yeah. There is an instance where it's not faster to lose the first couple, depending on the number it gives you. Like if it gave us a 1, it would obviously be faster to just throw 1 baseball in and then, say that's our answer. But yeah, so like ideally on a bonus round, you'd see something like 3-2-1 or 1-2-1 or something of that ilk. But this is an event run, so we're gonna get like massive numbers comparatively. So next we're going to a Cookie Monster level. This one's unique. We don't really get to do the joystick stuff here because we're on vehicles here. Well, sort of. The second one's a snowboard, but that's kind of a vehicle.
Yeah, in a way.
In a way, yes. I would love to know if some of the original voice actors reprise the roles in this. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure with a massive IP like Sesame Street that they likely have multiple people who can do the voices of the characters and such, just depending. But still, I'd be curious to know. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. Especially this is like the, amongst the first soirees into 3D, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, so the first level here is the River of Chocolate, and we just got to go up through here and select whatever number is asked. And in this situation, that is 8. We got the worst seed, of course.
This
Fantastic.
They don't want you to succeed right now for some reason.
No. All right, then we have the snowboard level here. So we're just gonna snow around and look for the number 8. Looks like we got a pretty okay seed. Yeah, we did actually on this one. Yeah, once you've played this enough, you start to kind of know some of the patterns. You'll be like, oh, if the first couple of the correct number in, X location, that means the rest will be in YZ location, kind of deal, Let's see, where's this last 8? What is going on with the camera? That's strange. Okay, there we go. Fantastic. And now we're going to do the next bonus round. And unfortunately, Elmo explains the rules every single time. I understand why they did that. You can do the levels in any order, but it's a little bit of a drag. So we got a 5 to start with. We're not going to be getting 5. Oh, cool. I see in chat here someone says that IMBD says it is the original voice actors. That's really cool.
Huge.
I like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's really cool. Yep, so we're just going to get the first one wrong.
Wrong, in quotes. Kefka can definitely
wrong.
count, everybody. Don't worry
Ooh,
about
I
it.
don't even know that number. Ugh. All right, let's just.
No, it's like a 6. It's like a 6, but it's upside down. Okay, don't panic.
Okay.
Don't panic.
I got you.
Okay, good.
And then 3. 3's not bad actually. It could be better with a 2 or 1, but 3 is acceptable. We'll take 3. The snowboarding actually is kind of fun. It plays pretty good.
Be so proud of you. You know how to count.
All right. So there's only one level left, which is again split into 2 parts, and we're gonna be seeing the fast movement again, and that is the count level. Of course, fumble numbers. We have to have count in this game. Alrighty here. This one can get a little bit hairy sometimes. I'd say hairy loosely, because it's like, you know, not a whole lot of things can really mess your run up in this game other than RNG. But this first area, Count's Courtyard, is probably the most difficult level in the game in terms of movement. And it's mostly because if you unmap the joystick, or unbind the joystick rather, which I'm going to do here during this cutscene, so we don't lose time to do it this time. And again, that's just pressing start plus L and R, and then holding the joystick down. And basically what it does is it doubly applies the forward momentum. Like if I'm holding up, it's like I'm holding up twice, if that makes any sense. So yeah, we're going so fast, we're just outrunning like everything, like the camera, and it just looks
So
super
funny.
jank. Oh, it's wonderful. It makes it's interesting because it actually makes it kind of challenging in some weird sort of way. Did I leave a 3 back here? I did.
Yeah, yep.
Yep. I was talking, wasn't paying attention. That's my own bad.
You're zooming.
We're zooming now. Oops, there we go. Yeah, so like instances like right there, the 3 was just like barely off camera because I'm moving so fast. So I had to backtrack for the 3. So little things like that can add up in terms of time loss. You'll notice here I'm kind of just shuffling back and forth. The reason for that, I'm letting the camera catch up. Because if we're too far away,
So
the numbers
you
won't
can
even
see.
render. Yeah, so I can
Oh,
see.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and the numbers won't even render. You like can't even interact with them if you're too far away. So the general strat to get the camera to catch up is to kind of just shuffle back and forth, which makes the camera speed up to catch up to you.
Welcome
All right.
to my castle.
And now we're in the castle.
Find some of my very favorite numbers here. Please.
This one can be
Count.
pretty tricky too, actually, mostly because of the corridors.
Lucky number 3.
Makes it a little difficult at times if we're moving super fast like we are. Okay, we got the pretty good seed. We started off immediately with one of them. Okay, nope. We got the really bad one. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
We love to see it.
3.
Oh, the very, very bad one. Lovely. Yeah, that other 3 was like way over there. It's great. Oh, see there, I was moving so fast, I almost moved right past that one.
3.
And then this one, and then the last one is always in the same spot, so we can just take a good little line to that, like so. And now we're going to the final bonus round, so we're already at the end of the run, essentially.
Huge.
We're
quick
already
one.
there. Yeah, this game just zooms right by. We're starting with a 7 this time. That's good.
Get the big numbers out of the way.
And time will be when I ring the bell on the final one. In fact, I'll give a countdown for the timer, even, to end the run. So we got this wrong 3 times in a row. Yeah, I've only been running this game for about a year-ish. I tend to pick up very strange speed games, and this is no different, of course.
Yeah, this is perfectly in the Kefka pantheon of games.
Oh yes, it's very on brand.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, we're ending with a 4. Not bad, actually. Pretty average
take it.
RNG.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 and 4. All right, and time is in 3, 2, 1. Time. Woo! Just over 11. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, very short game. Very, very easy to pick up and run, obviously. It's a very cheap game, too. And for those of you who would be interested in it, very RNG heavy. It can get a little bit sloggy for sure at times in that regard, but it's a fun one to pick up if you're nostalgic for this IP and such. But yeah, that's Elmo's number journey. That's really all there is to say about it. It's super straightforward. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Great run.
Thanks again for having me. I wish I could say you all will see me more this year on Hotfix, but it's the last day of the year, so that isn't gonna happen.
Yep.
Yep.
You can retire. You can retire for 2024. You've done a lot lately, so.
Yep. But yeah, again, thanks for having me. A nice short run, but it's always good to hang out with you and be on Hotfix in general. This is my 4th time this month on Hotfix, so
Yeah.
it's been a crazy month for sure.
Yep, December's the month of Kefka, as it turns out. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, this was great. I knew this was going to be a fun little goofy adventure that, oh my gosh, yeah, just hard not to love it with the moving and the visuals and stuff like that. It's great. Thank you so much to Kefka for running that. We have one more game for you tonight, so feel free to stick around, but we are going to take one last little break here, so feel free to get up, stretch, maybe change how your personal control configurations work, and you might get there a little faster as a result, and we'll see you here in just a few short moments. All right, and welcome back to Awfully Silly, everyone. If you are just tuning in, we have been enjoying the toys. We unwrapped all the holidays. That's right, all of our games are themed around toys of some sort. We kicked it off with Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus, so we got some Barbie action in there. Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots, I mean toys right there in the name, and we got to see a lot of our favorite Nickelodeon characters. Followed that up by an incredible run of Elmo's Number Journey from Kefka, which we got to see a nightmare version of Elmo zoom around and collecting numbers. Who's not happy to see that? And before we jump into our last one for today, I wanted to remind everyone of just a few things as well. So, haven't already, highly suggest joining the GDQ Discord. We have a hotfix role that you can add in there that allows you to keep tabs on upcoming events and shows for, related to hotfix as well as mainline stuff. You can also talk with staff and more. So feel free to join if you haven't already. You can use !Discord in Twitch chat for more information on how to do that. And if for some reason you miss out on any of our hotfix shows or AGDQ is coming up and you didn't get to see every run on the event, you know, you didn't stay up 24 hours a day for 7 days in a row, be sure to check out the VODs. You can do that at youtube.com/gamesdonequick. That'll allow you to catch up on older hotfix shows as well. And then during the mainline events, we'll be uploading the runs there as well. Finally, if you're still interested in checking out some of our hotfix content as well, gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. If you go there, you can check out our season 4 schedule, of which we are currently in, and you can even look at a more in-depth version of that schedule that will outline the week's runs. So highly suggest doing so you can get ahead on what you want to watch through the week. All right, without further ado, we have one last toy-themed run for this evening, one that is near and dear to my heart. We were just talking about it in the green room a little bit. I am such a I was a Lego kid, and I'm a Lego adult, as you can kind of see behind me as well. I build Legos all the time. I was a huge Lego fan, and when I was growing up, I was specifically really into Bionicles, as I am sure our runner was as well, because we are going to be featuring Bionicle Nui Online Game, and it's going to be run by Derek MK. Derek, the floor is yours.
Hey everyone, I'm Derek MK, and I'm very happy to be here to sort of close out this special toy-themed episode of Awfully Silly with, being able to represent a toy franchise that, just like Conception said, is very, near and dear to me. It's one that, took the world by storm in the early 2000s, and of course I'm talking about Bionicle, the franchise that allegedly saved Lego. And this game here, Nui Online Game, is sort of the source for a lot of people of the infamous Bionicle lore. This is the game that really introduced a lot of that, and it was playable on the Bionicle.com website as early as 2001. That's right, this is a Flash game. We're doing Flash speedrunning here.
Heck yeah.
And I'm just really happy to get to show this off, and also, not just to show it off, but, I just mentioned this is sort of the source of a lot of the Bionicle lore, and so what better way to show it off for a special toy themed episode than by doing an all cutscenes run. So we're going to be seeing, we're going to be seeing every cutscene in this game during this run, and I'm very excited to get started. So without any further ado, the timer is going to start when I restart the game here. So when I click this button and it loads in. So that's going to be in 3, 2, 1, start. So starting off here, we have Maku asking for our help. We're going to flat out ignore her because we have cutscenes to watch. So
Yay.
this cutscene is sort of the introduction to the prophecy, if you will, or whatever, that Mata Nui, effectively the god of this universe, the Great Spirit, and the being that the island of Mata Nui is named after, was attacked by the evil Makuta and cast into a deep sleep, and Makuta would also infect the Rahi of the island, the different animals and beasts, and use them to wreak havoc while the Great Spirit is sleeping. And eventually 6 heroes known as Toa would descend from the heavens, defeat the evil Makuta, and rescue and awaken Mata Nui. And that is, that's the gist of it. And of course it took I want to say like 7 years for that to eventually happen, but this game covers the entire story of the 2001 arc of Bionicle. And it really is the source of that story, because between this and the comic books, that's kind of all there was. There was originally going to be a retail PC game that would be published by LEGO called Legend of Mata Nui, that eventually got canceled, but then much later, an early build of it was found and later finished by fans. But outside of that, in the actual 2001, this is what we had. This is what Bionicle fans had to sort of establish what the setting and story of Bionicle was all about. So we just saw that sort of abstract with the stones and everything telling the story, and we also just found Toa Tahu right there, who's going to lead us into Takoro. It's kind of funny because in the any percent run, we skip all of this, because this is just to see some optional cutscenes. But we are going to head into Takoro here because we have one more cutscene that we need to see. That's going to be a story that the Turaga of Akama is telling us about here. This is about how Toa Tahu was found by the Matoran, the villagers of Takoro. And there's actually a funny little Easter egg here, I guess kind of Easter egg, or really a big bit of foreshadowing here, because after this cutscene, there's a dialogue that you get from Vakama that says something to the effect of, I am awaiting another, or I am looking out for another, and the prophecies have changed. And that's a very, very distant foreshadow to what would eventually become the 2003 story arc of Bionicle, and something that has become very clear over the years is that they were really planning ahead with a lot of the story of this thing, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, while we watch these cutscenes here, I'll sort of introduce what this game kind of is. This is a point-and-click adventure game, very much in the style of Myst, that, again, is a Flash game. It was available to play for free on the Bionicle.com website, and so this was the entry point for a lot of people. And so a lot of what we're going to be doing in this game was walking around the island, talking to different characters, solving puzzles, and watching these wonderful cutscenes here. I love how creative they were able to get with the cutscenes in this game, and this game really sort of pushes the Flash format to its limits, really, with what all you can do creatively in it. Alright, so with this cutscene done, just like I said, we have this once this does finish off here, yeah, we have this little dialogue here with Vakama. Once we leave that dialogue, there we go. I'm preparing for the arrival of another, which would eventually become Takanuva, the 7th Toa, the Toa of Light. Something you'll also find out is that this game is very anime, and I'll be calling that out a lot, and so we'll be seeing that a lot in the cutscenes. So now we finally get to follow up with Maku. Maku's village was attacked, Gakoro, and we're going to get another cutscene here where she sort of tells us the story of how this happened, one of the Rahi. A Terrakava showed up and attacked the village and threw all the Gamatoran into a hut and sank it beneath the sea, and somehow they're still sort of okay down there because they're really good at waterproofing. Also, ignore the fact that we're suddenly in a different location when we're talking to Maku. That's a bug. And for some reason, after you watch that cutscene, it puts you into a version of that conversation that takes place in a different location, which you can use to get to other areas, but you can't really do much until you finish this area, so it doesn't really help us for the run or anything. All right, we have a little puzzle right there to open the gate, and then the first little bit of RNG here, we're going to pick up the backpack and then the light stone. What you're supposed to do here is you're supposed to use the light stone to find a gear underwater here, and it can be on one of any 4 different screens, and we got it on the second one, which is pretty lucky. If you get it on the 4th one, that's pretty unlucky, but we got it on the second one, which is not bad. You're supposed to use the light stone. If you shine it around down there, the gear will eventually turn like silver and glow. It'll like shine. And that's how you're supposed to find it, but you can just sort of look for the one that is a gear and not a little plant down there. We do pick up the light stone anyway, because there's another cutscene later on. Sorry, not a cutscene, another puzzle later on that does use the light stone, and we're gonna need to have it for that. But yeah, we have a little cutscene here, and remember when I was saying this is like super anime? Yeah.
Yep.
Just everything about this.
Yeah, this is it. This is anime. This is anime as hell.
Yep.
I love it.
And also the soundtrack of this game just goes absolutely hard. And it's a little bit unfortunate just how compressed they had to get it to, be able to load it in Flash, over a very potentially slow web connection, but it still sounds all right. So yeah, it's one of the very, very fun parts of this game. So now that Gakuro has been saved and everyone's sort of rebuilding the village, we're going to sail on over to Powahi here and eventually to Pokoro, the sand village, or the stone village rather. And we're going to find out there that people have been randomly getting very sick around here, including their star Coley player named Huki. He's been kind of under the weather lately, and we find out that the actual Coley ball is what looks to be actually carrying that infection, as we'll see here in a moment. There it is. Nasty.
Ooh,
yeah.
Sinister.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to use a little bit of a glitch here. You're supposed to turn it into the Turaga, and so he tells you about, it looks like the Coley ball is carrying the illness. But we actually give it to Huki instead, and for some reason, he gives us the same dialogue that the Turaga is supposed to give us, which, as far as I'm aware, is a bug, and it actually helps a tiny bit for the run, because when we finish this conversation here, and we leave, we're suddenly in the Turaga's hut. And so in any case, we're going to pick up a peg there, and that's going to tell us, the little design on the peg is going to tell us which statue we need to put it into when we get to this next area over here. It's a little bit of a puzzle to see if you know the elemental symbols, which that one corresponds to stone or Pohatu. And we're going to go into here. That is random for each playthrough here, so you do have to pay attention to which design is on it. But yeah, we find out that the Coley ball vendor, the guy who's been selling them to all the Coley players, has been getting them from this nasty little cave where an infected Nui Jaga has been really messing them up. So we get to play a little mini game here where we control Pohatu as he kicks Coley balls at the little pillars here that are keeping the cave up. And this is a lot harder than it seems, because something you can't really see is that there's a little bit of a delay between when you fire the ball. Like I'm basically, I'm holding the mouse button to charge it up and then releasing it to fire, but there's a little delay in between when you fire and when you can start charging another one. And if you click too early, it just treats it as a dead click. So you have to be really careful to make sure, got unlucky there. You have to make sure, I'm getting really unlucky. You have to make sure that you wait for long enough so you don't get a dead click in there. And then when you get down to 2 pillars like this, it gets pretty difficult to not let the Nui Jaga here as the goalie kind of mess you up. All right, so that was pretty slow for that, but that's perfectly fine. We got plenty of game left to go. And so, yeah, we've collapsed the cave. And one thing here that is totally, like, there's no way this is intentional, but I like to treat it as a little bit of a headcanon. For some reason, Pohatu's dialogue is the only dialogue in the game that you can spam click through like that. And I like to believe that that's because he's the Toa of speed. But in any case, we're going to move on here. All right, so we're moving on into Onukoro. There's a little, like, fast travel crab guy that you can ride right there, but it's actually faster to run through. So we're going to do that. And we're going to take a little bit of a detour here before going to the next immediate objective, because we have to pick up something for a side quest. And there's going to be a miner down here that's, you know, trying to break through this rock layer, and something's real weird about it. It's totally impenetrable, and there's some weird carvings on it, and he tells us they look like astrology markings, and we can tell him, oh, I know an astrologer, and he'll give us a sketch of it. But I'm also going to click, oh, I messed it up there, unfortunately. If you click on the option for I know an astrologer, and then while the options are scrolling off the screen, if you click goodbye, it skips the dialogue for him saying, oh, take this to the astrologer, and it just says goodbye immediately. But unfortunately, I did not quite click it in time, but that's fine. It saves like a second, maybe two. In any case, we don't know an astrologer at all, by the way. We haven't even encountered the astrologer yet, but you can just say that. Something you'll find in this game is that a lot of the strategy for this run involves just, like, not doing things that, you know, the game tells you to do. So, like, the game tells you to, you know, take the thing to the go talk to the astrologer and then talk to the guy, and then he tells you to, wow, that was very fast. You know, to take it to the astrologer, but you can just skip parts of that. You can skip things because they're not really triggers, and we'll see that later on, is that, you know, lots of things in this game, the developers don't expect you to kind of skip ahead, and you can just skip right ahead. Anyway, that puzzle there was a 3x3 lights out puzzle, and that is random every time. I just got pretty lucky with a pretty easy one. And there is an algorithm to solve it, so that's what I was doing there. But yeah, story-wise they're trying to mine a path through to Lake Oro, and they were having trouble because their supply of light stones was blocked off by a lava flow. Their lava pump machine broke, and so we fixed it for them so that they can get through to the light stones. And because this is an adventure game, they immediately break through, so you can, you know, move on to the next area, which is Lake Oro. We just got the flute here, which is the most important item in the game, because later on it's going to be our fast travel item. For right now, though, it's just, you know, it comes with a little, like, song loaded onto it that you can play to sort of signal to the Matoran that you're with them here. And we're about to get into the mini game that sort of stumped a lot of kids playing this game in 2001. This was something that a lot of kids had trouble with when they were playing this game, and that's because there's going to be all these, you know, Nui Rama flying at you, and you have to click on them to shoot them down before they can damage you. But as it turns out, only a very small fraction of them can actually hurt you, and those are the only ones you actually have to hit. And so you'll see after this next cutscene, you can just hover your mouse up here, because they always follow the pattern of, like, they come up from the bottom, they go here, and then they come down here to attack you. And so you can just click them when they're up here, and then that allows you to very, very easily just take out any of the Nui Rama that can actually attack you in this game. So as you'll see here, you just hover your mouse up here, and then whenever I see one of them start to do that pattern, like, all these other ones don't matter, it's like that one there, I can just click it. Just like that. And so we're just going to be doing that throughout this whole minigame here. At one point, it does transition to another phase where the location changes slightly, but other than that, this minigame is actually very, very easy when you're not trying to click on all these guys here. So now we just move it down here, and we just sort of wait for them to pop out from the left side to the right, and then back up to here for this phase. And so really this whole section just becomes a bit of an auto-scroller. Story-wise here, the Nui Rama have been terrorizing Lake Oro and sort of abducting the Matoran and taking them back to their hive. And so we're taking the fight to them into their hive to see if we can take them out and fix them. Also, you can get hit like 3 times here. The only time you can really get hit doing this method is if you get really unlucky and you get hit while you're reloading. But it's virtually impossible for that to happen 3 times during one run. So you're perfectly fine. And everything at this point is just cutscenes. All these Nui Rama that are going to pop up here, they don't actually hurt you. You can't fail at this point. And there we go. I'll say while we got some cutscenes going on here, there's a question in the chat, something along the lines of, is this the 2001 version or is this the 2006 re-release? This is the 2001 version, but it was packaged by Biomedia Project, which is a group of volunteers that do distribution of all sorts of Bionicle multimedia, so commercials, promo images, movies, games, even retail games with Lego's blessing. And they made this sort of packaged version of Nui Online Game that contains a Flash player built in. And so that's what also, gives these settings down here. It's what allows it to run at 30 FPS. So this is the version that we do for runs. And we'll actually see later on, there is one thing that having these settings down here actually helps a ton with for the run, but it's at the very end of the run. We're going to see what that's about. So story-wise here, Lewa, one of the Toa, has been infected with an infected mask, and so he's sort of controlling the Nui Rama, and so he's been turned a bit evil. Toa Onua has shown up here to sort of knock some sense back into him. And they do that by knocking his head off. No, it's actually just his mask. And so now that he has his normal mask back, everything is good, and the Nui Rama are going to stop attacking everyone. Have I mentioned this game is very anime?
I keep looking at this game like, honestly, like, this is a really polished Flash game.
This is the best Flash game of all time.
It looks beautiful. Yeah, it has to be, right? Like, I was thinking exactly that. I was like, to put that much effort into making a Flash game of this quality and then to let people play it for free. Wow. What a cool
So
time.
as a reward for all this, we get the fast travel song for the flute here. It's 8 notes long, and I am playing on a very, very tiny game window, so I have to click very precisely there. If I misclick, I have to start the whole song over again, and it's very annoying. But in any case, when I play that song, this bird comes down, and I can fly to any location that I've been to before. So we're going to go back to Gakuro, and that's because we need to talk to that astrologer that we haven't met yet, but we told the one guy that we did. So we're going to go and give that sketch to the astrologer. And the astrologer is going to say, oh, that looks like a sundial, which is very weird because it was underground. That doesn't make sense. And so he gives us a little stick to put in the center of it, and maybe we can use the light stone to try and do something with it. He said there's a special mark at the 4 o'clock position. And so we're going to go and see if we can solve a puzzle with that info. And once again here, we're going to just run past this crab here because it's faster to just run through to Onukoro. There we go. And we're going to head back down to where that sundial is. And I'm going to set up something for what is the one tech of this speedrun. I'm going to focus here. There we go. I'm going to play all but the last note of the fast travel song there. And in 5 minutes, I'm going to show you what that's for. So we're going to go ahead and shine a shadow on the number 4 spot here on the sundial. And this is going to open up a passageway, and I'm sure you're all very interested to know where this passageway goes. So anyway, we're going to head back up now, because we're going to see what that is later on. All right, we also got, this is another opportunity to do that, the flute song thing there is when you're riding the elevator up. You get 2 chances to do it there, basically. So if you mess it up the first time, you can maybe get it on the second one. But we're going to head into Takoro here, and that's because we need to talk to Jala, who is the captain of the guard. Because now we've, solved things in Pokoro and Onukoro and, whoops, that's the wrong place, and Gakoro and Lake Koro, but now we need to go to Kokoro, where apparently there have been Rahi sightings there as well, and the Kokoro, or the Komatoran, have not really been giving any reports back to the guard, so we're going to go investigate and see what's going on there. Jala is going to give us a badge that we can show to a guy nearby to let us ride a cable car up to Kokoro. And so that's going to be the next place that we're going to. Get some really weird movement here because we need to go backwards, then turn around again, climb up here, show the badge to the guy, and get a lift up to Kokoro. Coming up here is going to be another one of the really big RNG moments of the run, and actually now it is the biggest RNG point of the run, which is a bit unfortunate, but we'll see what that looks like here in a moment. We're going to pick up a heat stone because one of the Komatoran here is in a bit of a predicament. We're going to help him out, and he's going to let us into this area. This is Kopeke. We got a little bit of a puzzle here, which is basically a test of, do you know all of, that's the wrong place, do you know, apparently I don't, all the Toa and Turaga. There we go, and you're basically sorting them all by elemental symbol there. Alright, we're going to talk to this guy here. The Turaga is here. The Turaga is who we're trying to get to, but the Turaga does not speak our language. He has a translator, and the translator is out in the drifts. So we're going to go and find him. And this is that RNG moment I was talking about earlier, about how you have to find these flags in here. And these flags are placed randomly. You have to find 3 of them, and their opacity is also random. There's another one. Are we going to get lucky with the 3rd? It does not look like it. There's the 3rd one. Okay, so at this point now, we found 3 flags, and we got past that rock there, and now we need to wait for the screen to white out, which is something that also takes a random amount of time to happen, which is just lovely for a speedrun, right? But we got decently lucky on that. I've done it a lot faster, though. This text says, "Beware the Swarm," which is a bit of a teaser for the 2002 arc of Bionicle, the Borak Swarms. And we're going to see a much more explicit teaser of that at the very end of the run, because, like I said, this game covers the entire 2001 story of Bionicle. And so, at the very end of the game, they need to set up for the 2002 story. So we're going to see that in a moment, or, well, at the very end of the run, rather. In the meantime, we got a fun little cutscene here. Oh no, a giant cow. This is a Muwaka that's attacking Motoro here, the translator. And here's Toa Kopaka to save the day. And also, have I mentioned that this game is very anime? Yeah.
Anime, yeah.
At this point, Toa Kopaka seems to have collected some of the other masks at this point. The main sort of plot line of the 2001 arc is that all the Toa are on a quest to collect all of the different masks so that they can turn them all into golden masks, and then that will allow them to go and face Makuta. And Kopaka has already found some of them by now, because he's just that cool. So anyway, we can now hear what Nuju has to say, because we have the translator here, and he's going to tell us basically that we need to go and talk to all the other Turaga, and then after that we're going to need to collect a party of Matoran that we've met along the way. So first off, remember like 5 minutes ago when I said that I was setting something up with the flute? Well, that was it. So if you press the first 7 notes of that song during like a cutscene or something, and then you get closed out of it automatically, the next time you open up the flute, you can just press the last one, and it saves like a couple seconds having to play the entire song. So we'll do that like 1 or 2 more times throughout the course of the run, because this is the point where we really use the fast travel a lot because we're going all over the place to find all these different Turaga, and that's lovely for me because I have to click very precisely on this tiny little screen in front of me. But in any case, we're going to go to Lake Horo next. We're going to give it to the Turaga of Lake Horo. We're showing this letter to all of them. And also, every single one of them has the exact same text for when you do that. It's like, you are brave and resourceful or something like that. All right, next up is going to be Pokoro, and actually, we're going to fast travel to Pokoro and then give it to this Turaga, but then instead of immediately fast traveling out of it, we're just going to leave the conversation normally, because this time it's actually faster to just run over to Onukoro. The fast travel does take some time because we have to watch that animation, and the fast travel just deposits you right here, so it is faster to just run. You also cannot use it underground, so after we give it to this Turaga here, we're going to be just running to the next one as well. Ooh, okay, I get to say the line. So okay. I get to say a variation of the line. This has never happened before on this client of the game, but I believe I can, whoa, not start new game. I can do this, and this should fix it. Hey, there we go. Cool. So that's a soft lock if I'm not playing on this client. For some reason, when you give people an item, sometimes it can just not show the arrow to progress. I've never seen that on this client of the game. There we go. Yeah.
First time
so
for
now
everything.
I should be able to just fast travel over to Kokoro, and hopefully this didn't mess up my progress or anything. I may have to take another lap around to talk to the other Turaga, depending on how it sort of kept track of my flags there. But hopefully there should be a Tomatoran right here. There is. Hi, Kapura. So once you give the letter to all the different Turaga, Kapura shows up in a bunch of different locations. You can find him in a bunch of different places. And he tells you, hey, you got to go talk to Turaga Bakama. He's going to tell you to, go collect a party of Matoran. And we're going to skip that and just start collecting a party of Matoran. Because you don't have to go talk to Turaga Bakama. All right, there we go. And we're going to go to Pokoro now, because these are almost all of them are Matoran that we've met along the way. So we picked up Kapura. That's someone we could have met earlier. We picked up Kopeke, which is the guy we freed from the ice wall. We're going to pick up Hafu here, who's this guy who's been carving. He also has the best cutscene in the game later on. There we go. And we're going to turn around and head into Onukoro now. Once again, we're going to skip the crab. The crab will have his day at the very end of the run. And for this one is a little bit special because we have to get permission from the Turaga for this one, because Taipu is a miner, he's mining, and we need to get permission for him to leave his job early. So we're going to do that right now. There we go. All right, so we're going to head down into the mine shaft here once again to find Taipu. He's the guy who broke through to Lake Horo. Oh, and I forgot to do the flute buffer there. We're going to do that on the way back up. All right. There we go. He's in our party now. All right, let's do this. Ooh, we just made it for that one. And that saved like 2 seconds, having to play the full song later. Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right, and we're going to head through to Lake Horo now. To find Tamaru, who was someone who was helping out with the Nui Rama swarm earlier. There you are. Will you join our company? And then I don't have to play the full song there. And then we're going to head back to Gakuro for the final one, who's going to be Maku from the very beginning of the game, the one that we ignored twice and then eventually helped her. They've also rebuilt the village here, finally. And also Maku definitely does not have a crush on Huki from earlier. Yeah. Hashtag
no way.
This canon. Anyway, that's one of the weirdest things is that Greg Farshty, the lead writer for all things Bionicle, was adamant that love is not a canonical subject in Bionicle. So weird, even when they were writing stuff into the games as early as 2001 like that. But in any case, this next sequence is we're making our way to the very center of the island, and we're doing that by using the skills of everyone on our team. So Maku's special skill was owning a boat, and Tamaru's special skill was getting over his fear of heights. And Taipu and Hafu are going to help us here and carve out this rock slide here. And this is what I was alluding to earlier as the best cutscene in the game, by the way, which we're going to see in a moment.
Here we go.
Taipu is very strong, so he's just hurling boulders out of the way, while Hafu, the skilled carver, is creating his finest creation, another Hafu original. There it is. I love it. Anyway, we're going to move on here. And Kopeke is going to be our final one here. And Kopeke is an ice sculptor, so he's able to fashion a key out of some ice and snow here that he uses to open up this door. All right, so we're getting towards the very end of the game, and you may be looking at the timer, and you may be looking at the estimate, and you may be thinking, wow, that's really early for that, right? And unfortunately, this next portion of the game takes up a big portion of the run. And that is because we're about to do some JRPG fights. So story-wise, the Toa have all assembled here at the center of the island, and they're going to go underground and take the fight to the evil Makuta. But they're concerned that the Rahi may come in and collapse the exit behind them, so they won't be able to get out. And so what they decide to do is have this group of Matoran guard the exit to Kini Nui, so that they'll be able to get out later. And so that's what we're going to be doing. The Rahi are going to come and attack, and we have basically a JRPG party, and we're going to go and do some fights, and those fights are very RNG dependent. Now, this used to be just the make or break point of the run. This used to be, you can just get the worst RNG and your run's over. But thankfully, something that happened recently, I mentioned earlier in the run that we're running on a special package of this game that was packaged by Biomedia Project. That comes with all these different controls down here. That's something that we started allowing maybe a few years ago, and it actually neutralizes a lot of the RNG of this section here. So by the way, we do have to wait here before the fight starts up. This is just like a 30-second wait because why not, I guess. You're supposed to talk to the different Matoran and hear I'm strong against this type of Rahi and weak against this other type of Rahi to sort of learn about your party, but really we're just waiting here for 30 seconds. But once this fight starts up, this one's not going to be RNG very much because you're always fighting the same Rahi in this first one. You're always fighting a single Nui Rama, just like that. So we're going to go ahead and set our guys up to attack. And all the RNG in this first fight is just whether or not you hit. And so it's going to be just a lot of resetting them to attack every time they attack. We're getting pretty unlucky with this, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was like, that's a lot of misses. Jeez.
All
evasive little thing.
All the different Matoran have different stats, by the way. They did implement a full set of stats. So every Matoran has an accuracy, a power, a speed, defense, all that stuff. But really all it boils down to is that you have 3 really good Matoran, which are Kapura, Hafu, and Taipu. And then you have 3 that are not so good, which are Maku, Tamaru, and Kopeke. So we're going to prioritize attacking with the 3 that are good. One thing that this game established here before we went into that fight is that Toa Gali, one of the Toa, just randomly sort of said, "Hey, Takua, the protagonist of this game, I have a special telepathic connection with you that allows you to see what I see when we're down in the underground." And then they never follow up on that again. And so that is how we're able to see what's going on down there. My pet theory for this is that, and we're waiting another 30 seconds here, by the way. My pet theory for this is that this has to do with how later on, so this game was originally meant to be a companion game to Legend of Mata Nui. I mentioned that at the very beginning of the game, how there was a retail game that was planned for this that got canceled. Templar Studios, we got pretty lucky with the RNG here. Templar Studios, which is the group that made this game, they're the developers. They were basically told late in the development of this game, hey, the other game got canceled. Do y'all want to write the ending to the story? And so they did. And so they kind of needed a way, because in this, you're not playing as the Toa, you're playing as Takua. And so they needed a way to say, like, hey, I guess, we need a way to show what the Toa are doing. I'm getting pretty unlucky with the hit RNG here, unfortunately. Ooh, I might lose this. No, I think we're good. All right, but yeah, so they needed a way to show what's happening with the Toa, and so they kind of improvised and just said, like, I don't know, that you have a telepathic communication with one of the Toa. Okay, well, the 2 that they didn't kill were 2 of our good Matorans, so we got pretty lucky there. Go. There we go, cool. So we got past that second one. Now, this third one is going to be difficult because we lost like half our guys. They do come back, but with very, very low HP. So we're going to hope that we can very easily get past this third one. And if we can do that, then the fourth one, it actually doesn't matter if you win. You can actually lose it, and it works the same way. It does the same thing and lets you progress. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and just sort of chill out here, wait another 30 seconds, and then we'll get our third battle. And so what I was saying about the RNG, right, is that which enemies you face are randomly decided. There's 4 different possibilities for each fight in the sequence. Sometimes you might fight 1 enemy. Sometimes you might fight 4 enemies. And if you fight 4, that, is a lot more difficult and takes a lot longer than fighting 1. So we're going to see what it is this time. That's 2. We're going to re-roll this by reselecting our FPS. That's 2. We're going to re-roll this. That's 3. We're definitely going to re-roll that. Eventually, there we go. We got the 1 person here. So that's a quote-unquote new development. Oh, they also regain all their health when you do that. I didn't know that, actually. That's pretty funny. All our guys regain their health.
There you go.
But in any case, wow, our Taipu's almost dead already. In any case, you can re-roll the RNG for who you're fighting by just reloading the room, which is possible by just reselecting the FPS in the game controls. So that takes a lot of the RNG out of this section of the fight. If we weren't playing on, I got to say the line again. Okay, this also has never happened on this client here, so I'm going to go ahead and reselect this once again. And we get to restart this. That would also be a soft lock in the original client. Because sometimes the fight just soft locks for some reason. We're getting all the fun stuff for the GDQ Hotfix.
Yeah, it wants us to see everything. Yeah, the full scope of the presentation is
yeah,
bold.
It's good to know this game is marathon safe now.
Yeah, apparently.
And of course, we get really, really good hit RNG on that one. All right, so we got another cutscene here showing what's happening with the Toa. They formed into these 2 super Toa, the Toa Kaita, which are the way of LEGO saying, hey kids, I know your parents only got you 1 Toa set for Christmas, but you need to ask them for the other 2 so that you can build a super Toa. So we're seeing them fight against these, I don't even know what they're called, these little bug things in the underground before they face Makuta, and they're kind of getting their butts kicked. But we're going to see how they overcome that in the next cutscene. And like I said, this fourth fight here is it doesn't matter if you win it or if you lose it. It actually does the same thing. So in about 30 seconds, or actually right now, we're gonna see that happen. We'll go ahead and do this one. You can't get a single enemy to fight in this one. All of them have at least 2 different possibilities. So we do have to make do with that. I believe they're all equally likely as well, so it's just like a 1 in 4 to get the optimal one, which I believe this one is optimal for this one. That one was pretty lucky. Alright, there we go. Gonna reset them all onto this guy. Sorry, I'm kind of focusing here because I have to keep up with the attacks to minimize my downtime here.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Also helps to not be talking for the first time in like half an hour.
Yeah, you've been crushing. I've been learning. So like I said, I was a fan of Bionicle growing up, but I've learned a lot just hearing you talk about like the lore and the kind of development and how things worked. Learned
Right,
a
there we
ton,
go.
So
That's the last of those 4 fights, and at this point it's just a straight shot to the end of the game. We have more cutscenes here where, oh no, the Matoran have been overrun. And this is, I think this is probably why you can lose that 4th fight and have it be fine, is that they probably expected you to lose it. Yeah, because this cutscene that plays, no matter whether you win or lose, is just like, oh no, we're being overrun. But thankfully we get saved by all the Matoran we met along the way, like Kongu, who was flying the bird from earlier. We have this guy who's the head of the Crab Brigade, who I forget his name, we never actually met him. And then Jala, the captain of the guard, they come to our rescue. There we go. And we got one more cutscene of the telepathic connection with Toa Gali to see what's going on underground. Which, again, it's just funny that like they never bring that up again. It's just they needed a way to explain how you can see this cutscene, and they didn't want to just leave it as like, oh, well, this is just a cutaway to what's happening elsewhere. So yeah, they figure out that destroying these little pillars is what takes them out. There we go. And they're about to make it into the lair of the Makuta now. And they find out that just for some reason in this location they can no longer be the Super Toa, and they're back to their normal selves. And we got a big, long discussion here that basically ends with them saying, okay, well, we're going to go and fight Makuta now. Gali cannot keep up this telepathic connection anymore, and so she gives us the final objective of this game, which is to go and find them to bear witness to what happens during the fight. Because we're playing as Takua, the Chronicler, right? And he will eventually take on a much more important role in the story of Bionicle in a couple years, in 2003. But for now, he is the Chronicler, and so we're going to go ahead and take a crab, finally, into Onukoro so we can find a secret passage to the underground here where the Makuta is. And if you remember from way back in the run when we solved that sundial puzzle, here is finally the payoff for that. We're going to head down here. Yep.
Oh,
At
wow,
this
yeah.
point, pretty much all of the normal exits get blocked off, and you're like railroaded to the very end of the game here. So we're going to head down into this passage, and as it turns out, it's going to open up, and we find a way to where the Makuta is. Also, that's like the first time that we actually see Takua in this game, because it's all first person. He doesn't show up in any of the cutscenes until now.
Yeah.
All right, and we get this this fun cutscene here, where this is where Templar Studios really just sort of like had some fun with writing the ending to this. Because the form that the Makuta takes in the 2001 story is the form of a Matoran, and they try and play it up as the spirit of destruction. And there have been developer interviews that happened, way later, where they talked about basically like yeah, we decided that because Bionicle is a Lego thing, it's all about, building this stuff. It's sort of like, the spirit of creation needs an opposite spirit of destruction, and so they decided that that's what the Makuta was going to be, at least for this game. And so, basically, we get this fun little cutscene where all the Toa learn to use the power of teamship and friend work. And did I mention this game is very anime? Yeah, all of my splits for this game, like half of them are just like Anime 1, Anime 2, Anime 3, Anime 4 for the different cutscenes. And this is where... So, we mentioned this in the green room when we were about to go live with this. The audio mixing for this game is kind of fun. They just, in some places, it gets really loud when they're doing a lot of different sound effects on top of each other. And that's easily the loudest it gets. That, like, for some reason, they decided, what if the very end of this cutscene was just, like, lots and lots of clipping? But in any case, they've defeated the Makuta for now. He'll come back in a couple of years. And we're sort of stuck in the rubble here. And remember how I said how this game had to sort of set up the 2002 story arc of Bionicle at the end?
Yeah.
This is that. So the 2002 story arc is the Borok Swarms. And even though the Toa were not able to awaken Mata Nui, they were able to awaken something else. And these are going to be the sort of the villains of the 2002 arc, the Borok. And one funny thing about this this cutscene, if you remember, I talked a lot about how you can just skip a lot of stuff in this game, right? The game never actually checks for it. There's this whole side quest chain where you give an item to a guy who tells you to give an item to another guy, and then eventually you get the stone chisel here. And that's what you use to save Takua's life here, even though we never picked it up throughout the entire run. The game just lets you get to the end without ever picking it up. And that's pretty funny. So now we're back to where we started here, and we have one final dialogue with Bakama here, and then that's going to be the end of the run. And it's going to be once this cutscene is over, there's going to be a little stinger of a Borok jumping at the camera, and when it cuts to black after that, that's going to be time, and I'll call it at that point. But yeah, this was Mata Nui Online Game. Like I said, this is the entry point for a lot of Bionicle fans in 2001 and the early 2000s. This is, what introduced a lot of people to the story of Bionicle, and so it's something that's very important to me. And the end. Once we get past this cutscene, is going to be time. And time.
Woo.
Just under 47 minutes for the time. Awesome.
That's what it's
cool.
looking like, yeah.
Very good. So I'm happy I was able to come in under estimate despite all the fun stuff that we encountered at the very end there. And at the end, we get the cutscene viewer, so we can see all of the cutscenes that we did indeed watch for the all cutscenes run. I'm just going to scroll through these to show that we did watch all of the cutscenes. And here we are at the end. GG. So I want to say thanks to everyone for coming by and checking out the run here. I'm always happy to show off Bionicle stuff. And I know Conception has been saying this over and over and over again today, but hey, did you know GDQ is happening in less than a week? Oh my God, I cannot wait for that. I'm going to be there in person. It's going to be great. Come say hi if you're going to be there in person. We can talk about Bionicle and stuff. My name is Derek MK. You can find me online primarily at derekmk.bsky.social. That is my primary social media of choice. So you can find me there. I don't do a lot of Bionicle speedrunning stuff anymore. This is really just, when I have a chance to show it off at marathons and stuff like that. My main thing at this point is a lot of RuneScape stuff. If you're into old school RuneScape, you can find me at youtube.com/@DEREKMK. where I have a UIM series, and I'm working on maxing my UIM and being one of the first 500 people in the world to do that. So you can check me out there, and I think that is all I got. Thanks, Conception, for reaching out and getting me for Awfully Silly here. And we have also, after this, we're going right into another hotfix program, right?
Yeah, you're doing my job for me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much again, Derek, for running this game. Yeah, I learned a ton, and well, it might be silly in nature because of Legos and stuff like that. This game looks like it rules. Like I definitely just want to play this for sure. So thank you so much for running that. And yeah, you were exactly right. We do have another hotfix show coming up after this. We are not done with our hotfix programming for the day. While Awfully Silly might be over for the year 2024, we have Express Lane that's going to be starting right after this. And if you are a fan of the Crash games, you'll definitely want to stick around because I believe we have a lot of Crash games on deck with Asuka hosting the show. So be sure to stick around for that. We're looking forward to it. And yeah, this is obviously it's the 31st, so this is the last show of the year. So thank you everyone who has watched Awfully Silly this year, and we're gonna have some Awfully Silly coming back next year as well, hopefully. So hope to see you in the new year. And yeah, and if you're at AGDQ and you see me, feel free to come on by and say hi. I always love talking awful, talking silly, talking anything really. Feel free to just come say hi. I'd be glad to see you. So. But yeah, that is going to be it for Awfully Silly tonight. Thank you to Menace Mans and Crow and Kefka and Derek for running incredible games tonight. And we will see you all in the new year. Bye, everyone.